Hello and welcome to Don't Feed the Geeks, presented by the Long Island Comic Guys, the masters of the geeky verse.
Nice.
I always forget that's coming.
You're getting good at that.
I'm getting better. I'm TC. With me today is we got the full house here. We have the Dungeon Master,
Greetings, adventurers.
JJ,
What's up?
Bojo,
Hello.
and Toy Story.
Hello, hello.
All right, so we have an awesome interview with Undead Ink owners Mike Carro and Tony Albano.
Yes.
Coming later in the episode. Really awesome stuff. We talked a lot about them. Little apologies because some people were a little far from the mics at certain points, so you may have some trouble listening. A recommendation would be listen on speakers instead of headphones. But otherwise, really great interview. Make sure you stick around for that. But for now, we're going to go into today's Beat Geek. So, Bojo, is
Geek
this
Beat.
you? Geek Beat?
The Geek Beat.
What did I say? The Beat Geek?
Yeah.
We're going to beat geeks. That's going to be a whole nother segment we're going to do. That might happen at Terrificon, we're sure we're heading to.
That might.
Yeah. So we're gonna pick up on stuff we talked about last episode. Right off the bat, we're gonna talk about the CW Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover.
Are we?
Yes, we are. We're gonna talk about that.
Kermit the
take a
Frog
nap.
here.
Yeah, Kermit the Frog here. I'm very much enjoying the Black Lightning. So Black Lightning is gonna be actually showing up in the crossover. His series isn't crossing over into it, but
Right.
the actor who's playing.
I like him a lot.
Yes.
He does a really good job on that.
So Black Lightning is going to show up in the crossover.
Nice.
And for me, this is the coolest thing. Kevin Conroy, voice of Batman,
Yes.
from the 90s through, Batman the Animated Series, Justice League, Batman Beyond, like all that stuff. He's going to be in the show. He's playing an older Bruce Wayne, from what I understand. I don't know if
Batman Beyond.
I-
Sorry.
JJ's back with the cough.
Jeez, God darn it.
You all right there, Jim?
So he's actually, it's going to be
Yeah,
him.
fine.
He's actually going to be, that is wild.
So he's going to be in the show as Bruce Wayne. I don't know if we're going to see him as Bruce Wayne or if he's just the voice. But I assume that we're going to get like a Batman Beyond thing going on. I mean, that's my obvious, that's
Well,
the guess.
you know what I also heard, and this is again a rumor. He might not be the only one from that series showing up in person.
Yeah.
Will Friedle?
I saw this too. I
Nope.
know what you're referring to.
Who?
From the animated series? Anyone who voiced an animated
Yeah,
character?
Mark Hamill's
No
supposed to be in it.
way.
I heard whispers.
Yeah.
I mean, he was on Flash for a season.
Yeah.
So
it's not unreasonable, I don't think. I'm sure, like, to dress up and be him, I can't imagine he wouldn't jump at the opportunity.
I don't think that's a rumor. I think that was confirmed, right? Because I saw the.
No, I think it would be a lot
I
bigger
didn't
if
hear
it
any
was confirmed.
confirmations.
Okay.
No.
no confirmation.
Because I saw
on
it a couple times on the Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love for that. to happen.
The Facebook.
I'll be honest, I'm so far behind on this, but I think I'm only pushing myself to try and get through everything just to enjoy this to the fullest. But no matter what, I'm watching this.
Oh, absolutely.
Do I have to watch everything all over?
I don't-
I'll watch the
think
Mark
so.
Hamill episode. That's it.
You can probably. It's like comic books. You pick up a random issue of a series, you can kind of figure it out based on context
Yeah.
clues. So that's going to be dropping. It starts in December and then it wraps up in January. Supergirl is the first episode.
Oh.
Sunday, December 8th.
We got time to watch that. December, we got time.
You got plenty of time.
But you realize that the season's going to start in October, though.
That's still got time. I'm watching The Wire right now, so as soon as I'm done with
nice.
that, I'm going to watch all that.
Nice.
Batwoman is the second episode. That's December 9th.
That's releasing this year, the first season, right?
Yes, that is the first season.
Didn't
So
start yet?
No, it has not yet
Oh.
started.
She
Wait,
made
so
a
it's one
cameo
after another
last
each
season.
day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And then on Tuesday, the 10th of December, The Flash is the third episode. And then there's a break over I guess, like the holiday break, the Christmas break. In January 14th, Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow, both episodes wrap up that storyline.
Same day, back to back.
Back to back.
Nice.
8 p.m. and 9 p.m.
I'm also hearing, what's his name might not survive this.
Arrow?
Yeah.
I think there's no way he does.
Yeah. But it's weird, though, because that's not when that show normally ends, is it? Is it in January
They're
the show's ends?
only doing a half season. The final season is only half
I
a
see.
season.
Oh, Arrow?
I think there's
Oh,
only
then
one or two episodes
100%
after
he's
this.
gone, yeah.
I would assume.
He's
I
going to go on
assume-
to... No, nothing. I was going to say bigger and better things.
That I'll watch.
I'm sorry. I'm going to go into this real quickly, but funny side story. You know Robbie Amell? Is that his cousin, I think, or
Yes,
his brother?
I think
He
so.
looks a lot like him. He was in this movie, The Duff. Did anyone see this?
Yes.
And I guess a video from it went viral of him throwing footballs. and people, because he was like a football player, and people were like on him because he threw the football so terribly. So he like did a response video. He goes, "I've been waiting for people to mention this. It's like I can actually throw," and he like launched on. It was actually pretty hilarious. But sorry.
Nice.
The little correction from last episode: Linda Carter has shown up. She was a guest star on.
Yes.
She had a guest role, I think, or she had a reoccurring role on Supergirl.
Yes.
But I don't know if she's actually in talks to return. And same goes for Tom Welling. I think what we saw was kind of unfounded rumors.
Okay.
Remember, kids, check your sources.
Yes, it's hard. On that though, is what's the Robin?
Burt Ward?
Yeah, is he confirmed?
I believe he is. Like, they think that's actually confirmed.
That's fine. I mean, I feel like if you get him, you might as well. Linda Carter, come on. Like, she still looks great. Put on
She
her,
was confirmed, so she's not confirmed.
She's not confirmed.
put on some type of adjusted costume for
The
for
website.
her age.
Adjusted.
Yeah.
The website. I mean, they could.
Listen,
totally
I
go
don't
Kingdom
see her
Come.
doing the One Piece, but I mean, she also could.
Hey.
She could do the One Piece.
She's not. She's not going to. All right, let's go on.
All right.
Yes, I concur. She aged very well.
Lastly, still sticking with the CW stuff. Apparently, CW is looking for a new DC property
To replace
for the
Arrow after they kill him.
2020-2021 year, which I guess they are just going to be replacing Arrow.
Yeah.
They're not looking to get rid of anything.
I know your speculation, so we spoke about it before. We're going to talk about this later. Swamp Thing did end on the DC universe, and you're speculating that it could join there. I really hope it doesn't. It doesn't.
It's gonna be Aquaman.
It doesn't fit.
Mercy Reef?
The trench.
Dude, I'd watch the hell out of that.
There's no way they're going to let that happen. Not with the.
What about an HBO
They only
adaptation
have a
of The Trench?
successful.
That would be a movie itself.
They only have a success. They already have a successful movie. One of the few DC successful characters was Aquaman. They're not going to let him go to TV.
I think what you got to keep in mind is they want to keep things under budget. This is CW.
Yeah, water's a lot of money.
Filming underwater is a lot of
Oh,
money,
of
and
course.
that whole Aquaman movie was like a CG fest.
Yeah.
Like all of that was CG.
They're not wrong.
They're
I thought it
gonna
was
be
more
looking
of
to
the
cut-
better CG I've seen.
Oh, definitely.
Did we talk about this when you were here about the movie they made, like that not a movie but a pilot for an
TV show,
Aquaman TV show with the guy? I think it was Justin Hartley.
It was Mercy Reef.
Yeah,
Um,
he never went. They never went underwater. He never even went in the water in that
Really?
pilot. I don't even think he did.
No, he didn't.
I was like, I'm confused.
They were saving it for the
probably
season
on
finale.
ropes.
By the end, I was like, so is he still Arrow or Green Arrow? I don't know. He was actually a great Green Arrow. I liked him as Green Arrow.
Justin Hartley, for
Yeah.
those listening, was the Green Arrow
From
in Smallville.
Smallville. Yeah.
We'll move on.
Smallville was a great
We'll
show.
talk about, I guess, Swamp Thing in a bit.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Because
But I do want to talk about this. That's why I didn't. That's why I let them not cut it on you.
What's that?
The next topic.
Oh, the next topic?
Yeah.
Last episode, we talked all about San Diego Comic-Con and totally skipped over one of my favorite things from it, which
because
was...
we didn't have time.
I know. Star Trek Picard trailer dropped for
you gonna be
CBS
buying
All
that?
Access. I'm probably going to do the cheapskate version, which is wait for half the season to come out.
And get it for a month.
Get it for a month and then drop it.
you get
What'd
14
you
free
do that
days.
I mean, yeah, but like,
You did that with the show that must not be named, right?
yeah, I did that with Game of Thrones.
We don't say that here.
I'm sorry. I'm
All
sorry.
right, cool. You let me know when you have a password and login.
Yes, sir. So there's no release date yet. It's just coming out next year, 2020. There are people coming back that regular Trekkies kind of know. But Patrick Stewart's back as Jean-Luc Picard, obviously. Data is going to be back, so it's Brent Spiner playing him. 7 of 9 was a surprise in the trailer. So it was Jerry Ryan, Deanna Troi, and William Riker, played by Marina Sirtis and Jonathan Frakes.
Oh,
are
all
both
of them
Are
confirmed.
all these people hard up for money? Because
Jonathan Frakes, like, honestly does a lot of direction.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
he's behind the camera
directs
a lot.
Yeah.
and the rest of them are getting their
Marie-
cash from from conventions, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I just
Marina Sirtis has a
Have you
regular-
seen? Did you see the trailer?
I did.
It
It
looks
looks good, but I
fantastic,
just
yeah.
I don't see the
I
point.
got-
They're all in it
I
for
got
like an
excited for
episode.
it.
I think they're all in it for the first episode.
That's
It's
it,
to
really?
I think they're only in it for the first episode. They kind of like, hey, these are all the people that you're familiar with, and here are the new characters, and let's go.
I don't think it's necessarily a hard up for money thing. I think people just they know how badly people want to see these characters, reprises. Well, just think of how many times you've seen Shatner or like Leonard Nimoy was in like 8 episodes of The Next Generation. Next Generation.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad's gonna kill me for saying this, but he doesn't listen, so it doesn't matter. He loves the original series. The Next Generation, and I do too. They both have like greatness in a unique way. But the Next Generation was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Far and beyond the best Star Trek show that they've ever made.
I like
If I get caught, I remember they used to have like these like marathons.
They still
I would
do.
be sitting there for like 18 hours
Today.
watching Star Trek. I was like, I'm going to stop
Jeez.
watching this way. And then 5 minutes in, it's like, well, I don't remember. And I don't know how it happens. Almost 95% of the episodes, I don't remember what happened.
yeah.
And I've seen them multiple times. It's like, what happens in this one
Yeah,
again?
they still have that. It's.
Do they get away
on
from
Wednesdays.
the Borg? I don't even know.
Yeah.
I used to have all the Playmates action figures,
Did you really?
like
Wow.
all of them.
I binge watched on
Let
Netflix
me guess.
when I first
Tasha
got
Yar
it.
was your favorite.
We've
spent way too long on
I
this
had
conversation.
never been happier on someone's death than when Tasha Yar died.
Really?
I was like, oh my god, so good. Like when Worf got to step up, Worf is awesome.
Oh yeah.
Hi, Worf's good.
I didn't like him so much in person. But
All right, so what else is not on the list?
Whoa, we didn't even talk about the mystery woman in the
Who
trailer.
cares?
Bruce cares. Don't you?
Yeah, I have no
I care. I'm
because
gonna watch the after he pays.
I haven't seen the last movie. Apparently where Data dies.
You never saw Nemesis?
Data dies?
I have
Spoiler.
Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen Star Trek Nemesis,
I don't think I saw that one
Data
either.
dies.
2004?
That's the
2005?
one with Tom
and then
Hardy,
if-
right?
Yeah,
that's literally the only one I've ever seen.
If you've seen
It's
the
not
trailer,
good.
you can
Yeah.
see they pull open a drawer and Data's in pieces in the drawer. Why they wouldn't reassemble them after Nemesis, I have no clue. There's got to be a reason.
I'm pretty sure that's B4. Like, that's the proto Data.
There was some rumor,
Yeah.
that they're using B4's body and they're putting all of Data's memories and stuff back in it. So
Who's B4?
It's just my battleship.
Somehow I'm getting the feeling that JJ's not a Trek guy.
no, he's not. B4 was, I guess you could say he was the first.
Yeah, he was like a proto
Yeah.
Data.
It's just like Data and his psychotic brother Lore.
Lore.
Yeah.
But his mental capacities, he had the mind of a child.
Matt, you want to go get a drink, Matt? Let's go get a meal.
Let's watch Star Wars.
what was their creator's name again? Father? What was his name? You have to
Sung.
Sung.
Nunyan Sung.
Nunyan
Nunyan
Sung,
Sung.
which was also Brent Spiner, right?
Yes.
Yes, he played a dual role.
And hey, that was our DM speaking. Yay!
Yeah, because I got some detail to talk about.
So yeah, there's that mystery woman character seems like to be the impetus. She's like what do you call those?
What do they call it? The Falcon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maltese Falcon. Not a Maltese.
The Maltese Falcon, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like the whatever it is. The
Right.
Grail, the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
The mystery thing that no one really cares about. It's the stories behind it that's important. Again, like if they would have told me if this-
MacGuffin.
yeah, MacGuffin, exactly. if this was a story about this girl, not watch. Like it's really annoying me. This is getting close for me to want to pay for this. Not close enough, but putting Picard on there, like a Star Trek show that's no one that I know on it, on a paid network, that could easily be on television.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
This should be on regular television. This is BS.
It should.
Honestly, there's no reason they're not going to get millions of viewers on this. And it's CBS. Like they're like the #1 network. Just put it on. People aren't going to pay. They're crazy if they.
That's
think,
what doesn't make sense to
Yeah.
me.
they're crazy about that. You know who the majority of CBS's watch? They have to be like 50 plus. Like all that stuff's old people TV. Not to be insulting.
No.
But everybody who watches CBS, they have to
No.
be like baby boomers and older.
Yeah.
I'd like to see what their numbers are for subscription base
There's
because
no
it doesn't
way.
make
I'm
any
so
sense.
curious.
And
It
now
can't
it's
be
got to be
anything.
even
really,
lower.
How
It's
many
got to be something though for them to do another show.
how many TV shows are subscribed? I only know of the one, the Star Trek one, Discovery, right?
Star
Is
Trek
that the
Discovery.
only?
It's Star Trek Discovery, Twilight Zone, and like they're really pushing Trek on this. So that
Okay,
they have, like,
so two.
short treks. They have Star Trek Picard. I don't know if they're going to do a third series, but it seems like the original showrunner, Alex Kurtzman, has already moved on to something else. And Michael Chabon, who's a novelist, who, probably most famously for Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay, is like the new showrunner.
Yeah, I can't see them making a lot of money on this. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
All right. Well, we spent a lot of time, so let's get it going.
All right,
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah, let's go watch Star Wars, Jim.
We're gonna jump into a new segment out of here. We're gonna call this "Up, and Away" because it's all these prices keep going up, and up. Last episode with San Diego Comic-Con, we were like rapid fire talking about first appearances and
So much information.
current values and whatnot. And I just wanted to clarify on the Eternals, like when everybody's first appearance was and who's playing which character. So just really quickly,
Am I GPAing these or eBaying?
eBay works best. So the first appearance of Thana, who's being played by Angelina Jolie, was Eternals number 5. This is all. I actually, before I start this, I was wrong last episode. I said it was like 15 or 18 issues in the series. It was 19. So it's 19 total. It's a really short, really fast series. Angelina Jolie is playing Thana. First appearance is Eternals number 5.
$51.
Is that raw, like high grade?
Raw high grade sold yesterday.
Nice. Icarus is played by Richard Madden from that show that we shall not name, but when it was good. Icarus's first appearance is Eternals number 1.
Yep.
And we talked about that last episode. Like that was a $150 book, and it's probably, is it north of there at this point?
Let's see, a 9.4, $225.
Yeah.
Which
8
one?
8.0 is $112.
Okay. Sprite is being played by Leah McHugh. Sprite in the comics was originally a guy, and this is like a gender bent role. Sprite's first appearance is Eternals 9.
$30.
Ooh.
Not bad. Kingo Sunan, or Kingo, I think is just what he's listed as in IMDb. Kumail Nanjiani. That's Eternals number 11. The nice thing about Eternals is like all of these characters are kind of like introduced issue by issue by issue. So you have a lot of different first appearances you can kind of snatch up.
$37.
That's not bad.
And with this too, you kind of have the mystery of not knowing which character is going to be like the fan favorite too.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you pick them all up and
Yeah.
you try and like gamble a little.
I mean, you're assuming that it's. I was only half listening. I'm not gonna lie. Who's the highest one so far? Is it the Angelina Jolie one?
No, the Icarus.
Icarus. Because that's just Eternals number 1. That's the first appearance of quote unquote the Eternals.
Oh, that's number 1. I apologize. Sorry.
That's all good. Ajax is played by. I know you don't.
Selma Hayek.
Ajax is played by Selma Hayek. That's another gender bent role. Originally in the comics, Ajax was a man.
$48 via FNM.
For Eternals number 2. Not bad. Makari is played by Lauren Ridloff, and apparently this is not just a woman in the male role once again. They are playing a deaf version of the character. Makari is like kind of a joke on the name Mercury. Obviously, this is like the speedster, and that's Eternals number 5.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What was that? We said that already.
Eternals 5?
The first one.
Oh, yeah. It was
like-
the same one as Thana.
That
Yeah.
was
30-something bucks.
Yeah, that's a 2 for 1. Another 2 for 1 is Fastos, who's played by Brian Tyree Henry. That's also Eternals 1. And then the last one is Gilgamesh, played by Don Lee. And these last two, I don't know their actors. But Gilgamesh was originally the Forgotten One, Eternals 13.
All right, a VF, $35 for a.
So you can
There's
pretty much get the whole run for under $500
There's a
bucks.
sold 9.8 here for best offer on $4,000.
That's one of those ridiculous. Someone put a crazy
I know,
price
what
up.
the-
I want to know what the real price was.
I know.
Though.
Yeah, but are you looking at sold or?
Yeah, but when it's best offer, it doesn't show what it actually sold for.
I wish it did. Anyway,
So pretty reasonable if you score all 5 of these books.
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
awesome.
there's like 5 or 6 books, and they were all in like aside from the number 1, they're all in like a $30 range, at least at this point. This is one of those things where I think if you're willing to go dive through back issue boxes at a yard sale or something like that, you can probably find these really easy.
I feel like a lot of people are doing that right now with these because of speculation. I mean, I think people are hoping for a similar Guardians of the Galaxy situation. I don't see that happening with these characters, but you never know. I mean, it could get close, but not exactly. I don't see the power behind these characters personally. All right, was that everyone?
That's all of them. That's all the main cast, main characters.
All right, so next, our interview with Undead Ink. Okay, so we're at the world-famous Undead Ink Tattoo in Oceanside, New York. Exact address is 3297 Long Beach Road. We're here with co-owners Mike Carro and Tony Albano. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. These guys, if you ever come into the shop, you'll notice there are awards throughout this entire place. So
Every
they're-
wall.
So they're pretty good. They're pretty good at what they do. Plus, they have a team of fellas. So somebody's actually getting a tattoo right behind us right now.
Yeah.
And it looks awesome. Who's this, Derek?
Yep, that's
Yep.
Derek Ramos.
All right, so we got another guy in here, Derek Ramos, a fantastic team here at Undead Ink. We wanted to do this episode a little different. We've done a lot of comic book art, but these guys are big comic book fans, and we want to talk about the art of tattoo. It's just another platform, another easel or whatever it is you draw stuff on. Is that right?
Canvas?
Canvas.
You missed the most
The
obvious.
easel goes on the canvas, right? I just buy the stuff. I don't do it. I give those people my money.
It could be on Bristol paper. It could be on canvas. Come on.
Oh,
man.
I know
Yeah.
Bristol people.
Yeah, I bet you do.
All right, so you've at least told us what you do is you listen to these before, so you know how this works, right? With the guests, we want to get the origin stories behind how you got started in geek culture and obviously tattooing. So let's start it off. Who wants to kick this off?
You want me to start? All right, I'll start. I got into comics around 8 years old. My dad, who absolutely had no interest in comic books, owned a video store. And one of his employees actually had a bunch of comics and he was getting rid of, I think, probably when I was 8, so 93, 92 or so. And he ended up buying me, I think, 2 or 3 issues of Marvel Comics Presents. First issue was Marvel Comics Presents 88 with that really awful, kind of very Sam Keithy, big, bulky cyber silhouette in front of that red background. And that was the first issue I ever got, which really worked out nicely because I got to enjoy Sam Keith's amazing artwork in that book, which is really trippy and weird. And like
Yes,
this fever
yes.
dreaming all issue was Wolverine. So
I know you know Tom Travis. He loves Sam Keith.
You
His
can
Mac
tell.
stuff is
You can
just
tell.
yeah, you can.
it's all over the place with
Yeah.
him. But it was very cool. So I got that, and I got 72. So I got the first Weapon X. So I lucked out really, really well with 2 really awesome artists and stories to like start out into comics with, and the Wolverine, who ended up being my favorite character. So I lucked out really.
Oh, you do
really
like
well.
Wolverine?
A little bit.
A little bit. Nice.
So I lucked out. I got 2 really awesome issues to go into. 2 awesome storylines too.
That's cool, man.
So have you always collected?
I took a really long time off. I started, like I said, I got those first couple issues of Marvel Comics Presents, and then I kind of picked up issues here and there, and it was, just kind of spotty. And I would always read stuff, and I read Marvels and stuff when it all first came out and all that stuff. And then I took probably solid 10 years off of reading completely. Like, it was really like a long gap. And then I just came back to it later in life in like my mid-20s.
Is it because you decided you liked girls at that point?
I liked alcohol and girls a lot more than
We're learning this is a
comics.
trend with the long break from comic books.
Yeah.
I liked alcohol. It was a bit more pressing than buying books.
Yeah.
And
So now the scale's
girls,
tipping a little bit, right?
oh, I spend so much more time reading comics and doing nerd stuff than I do drinking or having any fun.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think all of us here.
So when did you start getting into the tattoo stuff?
2004, 2005. So I started out doing a pretty terrible apprenticeship under a pretty terrible tattooer.
Did you draw or paint before that?
Yeah. So I always wanted to be a comic book
Great
artist.
question,
Actually,
man.
that was like a big thing for me. I always wanted to be a comic book artist. I still do very much so, but I'm terrible with deadlines. There's no way I can possibly there's no way I can get stuff done on time. But I always wanted to do comic book art, and so I always drew, X-Men, Wolverine, copied all that stuff, and eventually just transferred into tattooing because it doesn't have to be commercial, doesn't have to be politically correct at the time, and it was really easy to just kind of do whatever I felt like doing and do cool stuff, and you get a lot of freedom with the job as opposed to like doing most other forms of art, so you get to do a little bit of everything,
And when did you guys open this shop?
2012, December 2012.
Yeah, well, October 2012, then.
Yeah, then
December
Sandy.
2012.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, we hear a lot from you all the time, so now
So-
we'll move on
so-
to Tony. Oh, sorry, guys.
So you started apprenticeship in 2008?
No, 2005. So I
So
started.
2005.
Yeah, I think, or 2000. When did you get tattooed?
2006.
So yeah, I started tattoo in 2006, something like that. So either 2000.
It was like a year-long thing.
No, I did like 6 months. So it
Okay.
was like late 2005, and then I think actually pretty much almost March exactly 2006. I was full-time tattooing.
Nice.
That's
So-
great to be able to go from that to open up a shop in 6 years.
What's the transition like
yeah,
from?
no, I didn't even think of that. That's pretty.
Yeah. What's the transition like from drawing to tattooing?
It's completely.
Is it as different as it seems?
Yeah, it's completely different. So it's basically the same elements, but the application, the technical side is crazy. which is funny because my apprentice right now is like a really, really talented artist, but he has never touched a tattoo machine still to this day. It's been 5 months he's been apprenticing.
So what kind of eraser do you guys use for tattooing?
Sandpaper. Usually a cleaver.
All right. Now let's finally get to Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
What's up, buddy?
What's up, buddy?
So where the comic books start? Let's go there and then get into the tattoos.
Honestly, comic books for me started like 2 years ago.
That's
Nice.
okay.
No,
Mine was
actually,
like 5 or 6.
Not even, like maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, and I was into the movies, so I basically saw comics as stocks. When Mike started getting these crazy books, like, I saw the money fluctuating like it was, and I saw it as investments. I would like see these characters, find out when their first appearance was, and just buy a bunch of them and just try to just play the game that
Yeah.
way.
But
Zach,
you-
what year did you say it was that it was better to invest in comic books
Like
than it was in the
2009,
market?
right? Right after the crash.
I think it was actually like 2000.
Sorry, Bojo.
That's okay. I think 2011, 2012, like you were getting a better return on comic books than you were on like stocks.
Yeah.
That was the
Oh,
year.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right
That's
on
the
there.
year we got in.
So it
Yo,
worked out.
that's a good way to get in.
Good time.
Yeah.
But you like inadvertently became like an aficionado, because I remember going to shows with you, and he would just point out, be like, "Oh, that's somebody's first appearance." I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
I would just
And
you
he
get-
would just he'd
the
snag him.
trends, and I just
Did you get like heavy into it really fast?
Yeah. I just started spending a lot of money.
Yeah, when you have money invested in
Yeah,
it, you like
and-
you study so much more. I'm sure.
My fiance was like, "No more." I see one more brown envelope come to this house.
Those nice sandwiched cardboard
Yeah, I
envelopes.
just
I love those folders,
got
man.
out. I
The
have
T
a lot of
folders.
books.
Yeah. So then you asked them to put them in the white envelopes after that, then, right?
No. But I am interested in getting back in because I'm seeing things happen. And, it's fun. It is fun to just bid on them on eBay.
Yeah.
Just dig through shit at garage sales.
Do you still have all the stuff you bought?
I
Can't believe
sold
he
most of
cursed
it to get my girl's engagement ring, actually. So it was
Smart,
actually a nice
smart.
little move for me. Like, I
Nice.
bought all the books over the years, then I just sold them all to a comic shop and bought the ring the next day.
Nice.
So it was a nice
Works
little
out.
score.
I did something very similar when I proposed to my wife. My first like nugget for that was selling the whole run of Walking Deads.
Yeah.
You
worked out
actually
great.
read Walking Dead though. Like that was
Oh,
something.
yeah,
You
I
read the
did
compendium.
Yeah, that was
do
actually
do
pretty
you
good.
read stuff still?
Sometimes, I don't know. I don't love the stories as much as I want to. Like, I like the movies better.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I can see that.
find
I get that.
the books a little
With newer
too
stuff,
comic
especially.
booky for me.
Oh yeah.
It's
Fair enough.
It's not inaccurate.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, there's so much stuff. It's hard to find what you like
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard to get in.
unless you
and,
read
like,
everything and then
Yeah,
weird it out
and
from
they
there.
want $6 a
Right.
piece at minimum.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you gotta go crazy to find it. It's really inaccessible at this point.
It can be.
Yeah.
It's a very unwelcoming community.
I mean, to your point though, like even like, I do enjoy the hunt more. Like I do
Yeah.
I like reading, but like the day like me and you were over at Island Collectibles digging through his
It's
like
so fun, right?
books for like
That's
4
the
hours. Like I may have
best.
found like a $25 book and I was so excited, but we were there for like 4 hours. I was like, this is awesome.
Well, that's what this is really
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
About the
100%.
stories.
Yeah.
That's why dudes in their 30s and 40s do this. It's,
Yeah.
It's a hobby. It's a collectible. It's something fun to do and talk about.
Yeah.
I don't think these stories are what moves this culture.
No.
No, not so much. I mean, some to some respects.
It's
it is.
iconic and it's great and it's everything. But
I mean, there's plenty
think
of-
it's the camaraderie and
Yeah,
everything
for sure.
about
Oh, yeah.
that really makes it special.
Yeah,
Not-
I think the discussions about like what you read and like the kind of like degree of like you agree one way and you agree the other way,
Yeah.
like having that part of sharing it with other
Yeah.
people is really the greatest.
what comes
part
out of the book, whether it's that discussion or the hunt or the
Yeah, like
collecting.
honestly, I've
100%.
heard people talk about comic books before I read them. And I actually thought their stories about what was going on in these books was better than the books they bought. Like, people see way more into it than it actually is, and it's great. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And we just turn it into this whole world.
Yeah. There you go.
It's crazy how
But
far
speaking of amazing, like low money finds that worked out really well, did I ever tell you about when he went to? Where did you go to the con?
No.
You remember when you? Which con was it that you found the Zatanna book?
Oh,
my
that was
gosh.
the Eternal Clown in Queens.
Okay,
At the
so-
casino.
So
Oh, the
We're-
winter.
They-
WinterCon?
yeah,
WinterCon.
at-
Yeah,
at
yeah.
Resorts.
so we were there, and I forget who it was. Honestly, it might have been Carbonara. I don't even know. Like it was one of those dudes. Like just
You would have known
Put out-
if it was Carbonara.
honestly, I don't know any of these big dudes. I barely know any of them.
Okay.
You've
But,
heard the names, right?
Yeah, no, I know them just from being in that circle of dealing with those books and stuff, so I kind of know that, but I don't know what they look like. But some dude just poured out a whole box full of just ratty old books and just put them on the table, and they were all, what, $1, $2 or whatever?
None of them had any prices.
None of it,
actually.
yeah.
He just
They weren't
dumped it out,
bagged,
and people
boarded,
were just
nothing.
showing them.
Wow.
They were just
But he
loose
did it, like,
books.
right in front of you,
Yeah,
like, as we were walking by, and he drops him, and there's a Hawkman 2? What is it, Hawkman 2?
4.
Hawkman 4,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's just sitting on the table. He goes, Tony grabs it and goes, how much is this? He goes, $2.
Wow.
Gosh.
And Tony's just like, I'll take that. Just walks away. I'm like, I didn't know, because I don't know much from DC, especially at that point. And I'm like, what is that? Not at that point. I'm a little better now. But at that point, I was very, like, kind of loose on it. But he looks at me and goes, it's for Zatanna. I'm like, that's why? Why did you know that?
It's just seeing it on eBay. I just recognized
He just caught it in
everything
$2,
that would
and
be important.
I think you made out, what, 20 times in that book?
That's awesome.
Probably.
It's amazing what sticks in your head, what you remember.
Oh,
From
it's
just, like,
crazy.
Scrolling
it's,
through.
I tell people all the time when, like, anytime I'm tattooing them or something, they talk about a first appearance. That's awesome.
Oh.
They talk about first appearances or something. I'm like, I couldn't tell you what issue is, but if you show me a cover,
You know.
I'll tell you what the cover is. Like, if I see it, I'll know.
Yeah.
Like, I'll know a corner box, but I won't know.
Yeah.
I won't know a number.
You're
Like,
pretty good at that when we're going through. Like, I
Yeah.
was just like, what's this? What's this? What's this? I'm looking at my app. Meanwhile, he's doing it faster. I was like,
Yeah.
he's just looking. I was like, all right. I'm just gonna ask you.
So you're saying you recognize the covers better than if you were to like actually look at the books, or is it just a matter of like, I guess either of you guys,
just
covers,
the
100%.
covers, yeah.
you know the cover to see it. You guys are
Yeah.
visual
Yeah.
guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm way more visual. Like,
Yep.
I can pick out like a cover
Are you a numbers
out of
guy?
nowhere. I'll be like,
No,
oh, that's
man,
not quite
You
right.
seem like it.
I would be a numbers guy, but like I literally is just like remember where the cover is, and then I remember where it falls in the run.
Gotcha,
More
gotcha.
than
Oh,
anything.
okay.
So it's like almost like I'm flipping through, and I'll notice that like
'Cause you
this
know every cover
comes
in the
after
run.
this cover, and it comes before that cover. So, you know, that's where that one is.
Nice.
Because you're a crazy person.
Well, that's I'm a little Rain Man-esque.
You're a little Rain Man.
So I know we talked about your comic, but we didn't talk about your
My tattoo
your
side?
tattoo side.
Honestly, I was a customer. You know, I came into this world. I met Mike. We had some stuff in common, and I would just hang out with him, and I wanted to be in the world. So I put myself in the world. You know, I didn't just sit on the sideline anymore, and I just said, let's do it.
Nice.
And we opened up together. I saw it being run poorly. I saw some of the complaints I have about the comic book industry are the same complaints I had about the tattoo industry. So that's why I wanted to open up a place and do it a new way, do something differently, give more power to the people that work there than just flex yourself because you're the owner.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, we run a loose ship.
Like way too loose, but I think it's inviting.
Seems
No,
like it's more
you know what? I run it. I feel like we run it the way I would want it run for me. It's like just let me come in, let me do my job, and don't give me too much crap. You know, like just yeah.
You have your first opening is in what, March, so it doesn't sound like you're very successful here.
I tell you that this is the first time I've been to the shop. This shop is great looking. Like,
Yeah.
this is the
It's
coolest
nice,
shop
right?
I've ever been in.
We,
And I've been in quite a few.
We tried to nail like somewhere in between like rustic tattoo shop and nerd place.
This is awesome.
Have you guys always been at this spot?
Yeah,
Accomplished.
Yeah.
So like we got really random stuff. Like we have a Game of Thrones sword up, and like
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like
It's just a
We used to
collection of
have-
stuff
We're,
over the
we're gonna
years.
we're gonna play Chase Tom Polari with that later.
Yeah.
There used to be a wall of Funko Pops on that.
Yeah.
I remember that
that's
when
good.
I came
Yeah,
a while ago.
we used to
yeah.
have about 500 Funko Pops
Whoa.
at
Jeez.
one point. Yeah.
Those were stocks, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, that
we
was.
got in that.
Dude,
like
those are
Bitcoin,
insane.
we got so much cheap stuff. We got Headless Ned, all that,
Oh,
the
yeah.
craziest ones we got really
Like
early on,
$20
really cheap.
for $400 stuff.
Yeah.
Did you just
oh,
move them
man.
all?
Our returns on
we
Funko
sold a
is
lot.
Insane.
Oh yeah, we tripled our money, quadrupled our money, and we didn't even really want to get out. We got out because we thought it was gonna pop at
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, then they kept
we were
going
just gonna
up.
keep
It hasn't
yeah.
really yet, right?
No, it
Oh.
hasn't popped. It's crazy.
Your Vegeta story was probably the worst bust I've heard in old nerd culture.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Oh what? No, but
The
Purge
Planet
has
Arlia?
it. No, but Purge has it.
300?
I know, but Purge has it. I like listen. In the end of the day, if a collector who really loves it has it, I don't feel so bad.
You are
Tess
wearing
can
his
tell
shirt
you
right
that.
now.
Yeah, I'm literally wearing his shirt right now.
That's
He,
cool.
yeah. So who cares? I got what I pay $75 on it. I got 300 out of it. It's worth like $2,000 now. It's fine.
You made money off of it when you did.
For a pop?
Yeah, for a pop. Yeah,
Pops
yeah.
are
I hate those damn things.
Crazy, man.
They just take up too much space. That's
Dude,
all.
they do.
But it's
Yeah.
at a good home. He's never gonna get rid of it, so I don't care.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fine.
You know it's
Cool.
at a good home, right?
Yeah, I could care less at that point.
Oh, that would kill me if it happened to me.
Man, the amount of stuff
I like the community. I'm good with it.
amount of stuff I bought and sold, it's it's not bad, man. Like you're never gonna get in at the bottom. You're never gonna get out at the top. Never.
Yeah.
You know.
So it seems like a good work environment, though. Like, what you
Yeah.
guys have set up here. It seems like everyone has a good time.
Yeah, we
You know,
try.
You have strangers walking off the street and just hanging out here all day.
Yeah, where is he?
Oh, there he is. Our friend Tom Pilar is here. You
You-
might remember him from the Batman episode.
Oh, he's waving.
That was a good episode.
I'm not sure what he's doing here, but okay.
Yeah, from what I understand, he
He-
screwed up the dinner order.
Tom's here for my
He
moral
did. He screwed up the
He
no
li-
cheese.
he lives
Tidbits
here.
with no cheese. Do you believe
Monster.
I didn't know tidbits were supposed to have cheese. I'm sorry.
Come on.
Hey man.
You know what? Maybe you should go sit with Tom.
Hey man, I'm a teacher. We don't got money for steak.
Oh my gosh.
That's why you should be
Back-
drawing more pictures.
Back on track.
Back on track.
Back on track.
All right, so,
Alright.
so back to that transition from just drawing to tattooing. What are some of the biggest, differences, challenges that you guys ran into when you were learning?
I think the biggest problem and the biggest challenge is always going to be that there's no mistakes. Like, you can make mistakes. Like, don't get me wrong, we make mistakes. It happens. But, like, you got to find a way to fix it on the fly, and there's no eraser, and you got to kind of find a way
There's a lot
to...
of quick thinking, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, and like, you can sit down and draw on your pad, your drawing pad, and it's the same paper every single time. It's the same color. It's the same texture. It's the same weight. You're always going to get the same response out of it. When you're tattooing a person, it changes every day. It's never the same every day. It's a different person. It's a different skin. People bleed more. People bleed less. People move. People complain. Some people can sit for 8 hours. Some people can sit for 20 minutes. It's every day it's an adventure, and every day it's different. So you can't really approach it the same way you would drawing, where you sit down at your pad and you just work it. Like you're just gonna sit down and do it. So it becomes every day is an adventure, and every day is a new thing, and every day is a completely different situation. And then you gotta always design for different bodies. So if
Yeah.
you're doing an arm as opposed to a rib, chest, face, like it's all different. It's constantly going to be different. So it's a different challenge every single day.
That's interesting. So when you're doing that, when you're designing for different body parts that are different sizes, when you're drawing that out, how do you account for that? If it's like a bigger part, do you just draw it
it kind of
how it would wrap around?
Yeah, you kind of are you too sweeting right now? You just kind of account for the flow and the movement. So like at this point I've been doing it so long that I can kind of guesstimate the sizes. So if I'm doing a half sleeve or an upper arm, I kind of know where the size range kind of lands. So
Gotcha.
I get used to that. But as far as designing stuff in flow, it comes down to just getting used to that kind of stuff.
The more you
know,
do it, the more you.
yeah, you kind of
it out.
everything's kind of an S curve when it could break it down. Like it sounds way more complicated, but in the end, it's just like, it's just an S curve. It's not that crazy. But yeah, you kind of just get used to the flow and how muscles move and tendons and stuff like that. You try to stay within
Right.
those movements and stuff. So it becomes kind of formulaic at some point, and then you get like a huge, enormous fat person, and it's like that don't work anymore. Like
gotta
it goes right
completely
out the window
change your
because
way.
your arm is just a rectangle. Like there's nothing there.
Nice.
So are there harder and easier parts of the body to tattoo on?
Oh, absolutely, and especially for the client, he can tell he's covered in tattoos. So
Yeah. I like this Bulbasaur.
it's
Thanks, bro.
he
It's like hipster Bulbasaur.
That's great.
Oh, I got some weird.
oh
stuff on
he's
me.
got some
Man.
weird
Zach,
he's
Zach,
got some
you're gonna have to
weird
get some
tattoos.
pictures of these.
We're,
so we
we're,
can
we're gonna
post
go
it.
through that. I kind of want to know later.
Let's go
So-
through that later.
Yeah,
later
I've done a bunch of them too, so we can definitely get into some of Tony's weirder tattoos. Some that he lost bets on. Actually, bets that you won.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Hard areas tattoo. They're the same for me and for the client. So the ribs are tough for them and for me because it's you're breathing, you're moving. It's a lot.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
tough here. Feet are tough. Anywhere where there's like thin skin, hands, stuff like that. It's super painful. So pretty much anything that sucks for them sucks for me. So it's pretty much the same stuff. So like you don't want to be doing ribs every day. They're not the most fun. Arms and legs are great.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And
What
where
are-
there's a bit of flesh and fat.
You know what it is? You want muscle and bone mostly. You don't want fat. Actually, like stuff like your butt hurts a lot. Like getting tattooed on your butt hurts a lot because there's a lot of fatty tissue there, and it hurts a lot.
I have to rethink my tattoo now. That's a joke.
Well, that was just for
No,
me.
it's not.
He wants a Woodstock.
Eric Foreman?
That's who it was. It was Eric
I
Foreman.
could not remember what it was. Thank you.
I remember one
Oh,
of my
yeah.
one of my tats I got, like they hit my shin and then my whole body vibrated. Like,
Yeah, you need both. It's got to be muscle and bone. So if it's just bone, it sucks. So your sternum is miserable.
Oh my god.
Miserable.
don't think I
Your
could do
ribs are not great. Your stomach is not great because there's no bones there. It's all torso. And then your shin is bad because it's just bone. But then the back of your leg's bad because there's no bone there. So it's the same. It goes
How's
both
the
ways.
back?
Back
That's
is
fine.
rough.
That's fine.
Back is rough.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Back is rough.
So your lower back is rough.
realistically, getting
Your lower
tattooed
back is
hurts.
rough.
And
Yeah,
it-
it sucks.
The longer
across
you
the
get
board.
tattooed, the more it's gonna hurt.
The older you get, the
So,
worse it gets
yeah,
too.
Really?
Oh, really?
Oh
I
yeah.
used to be able to sit all day. Now 3 hours, I'm crying.
I used to love getting tattooed when I was
I
younger.
felt like I was going to be the 20-minute guy.
What's the last tattoo each of you got?
I got tattooed 6 years ago now? 5 years?
That's your
ago?
last time?
Yeah.
Logan, right?
Yeah. I got the Adam Kubert Wolverine issue 75 where he pops the claws and the butterflies on his bone claws. I have that on my leg. That was the last thing I got.
That's cool.
Nice.
That's cool.
What about you?
Portrait of Kanye West.
no way.
Was,
No,
was,
very
was
serious.
that one of the bet ones or?
No,
No,
that was just awesome.
Nice.
So have you tattooed yourself?
I don't tattoo.
Oh, Tony doesn't tattoo.
Have you tattooed yourself?
Oh yeah. So when you're learning, that's kind of how you get around it. You kind of just do.
Because if you mess up on yourself, it's a little less.
Yeah, what's the worst
bad.
that can happen? Yeah. So I did the Joker on my shin, and then I did I have a Betty Page on my yeah. No, look.
Yeah, I'm checking it out.
Yeah. Angel Medina art actually.
Oh,
Nice.
The Joker flipping you off
I
right
gotta
on my
check
shin.
that out later.
Just,
We were talking about that the other night. I don't think I've seen it
just
before.
in case you had no idea what I'm about. I like comics and I don't like you.
That's not
it's-
true.
it's-
He's a teddy bear.
It's very much right on my shin.
That's the title of this episode. I like comics and I don't like you.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So do people usually know what they want when they come in? How much do you
Usually.
help? Not help?
They
There's
usually have a
different
pretty good
realms.
idea. Yeah.
Somebody's coming to see Mike. Like realistically, Mike's at the top of this game. So like somebody's coming
Yeah.
to see him.
High
They're
middle.
emailing him specifically, and it's being set up well ahead of time. So they've spoken through email and corresponded and set everything up ahead of time.
Right.
But walk-in people sometimes they have no clue what they want. You got to
Yeah.
kind of baby them and walk them through it and basically try to talk them into getting something cool without them knowing it.
So you like give them ideas almost if they don't know?
Most
Yeah,
of the time,
usually.
people's ideas are really bad. And like they have this whole thing in their brain that's gonna look sick, but it's horrible and it doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. So
I'm sure you
we
draw it
have
out
to-
firsthand for them to see.
Yeah,
right?
so we have
Yeah.
to steer them in a direction where they're gonna get something that looks good because we don't want anything leaving here.
Right,
Yeah.
because
doesn't look
that's
good.
personal advertisement. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
people are
absolutely.
walking
No,
around
you
with that.
you never want like bad work to be hanging around.
I mean,
Yeah.
for complete clarity, what's your wait list on right now
March, April
of next
Jul-
year?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
July.
It's like
for
9
weekends
months.
and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Nice.
it's been like 8 months for a while
Yeah.
now.
I forgot it was July.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought
I
it was
know,
later.
Oh yeah, no, it's literally August in
Yeah.
like 2 days.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
like still.
It's crazy.
That's nuts.
crazy.
Oh,
man.
you heard my conversation on the phone before. I've been dealing with that since the middle of May. I can't believe it's August either. It's been 10 weeks. I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
It's crazy because going back to walking into this place, I was in the Navy, so we used to have a lot of tattoo parlors around the base, and you used to walk into these places and you used to have all the designs up on the wall,
Yeah.
and you'd be like, I want that one or I want this one.
We
Oh, it was like pre-done
It was
designs.
all
Yeah.
and that's how they all
So-
were.
So we call that flash. So when you used to walk into a tattoo shop, probably up until when we opened,
Yeah.
literally there were shops like this until 2011, 12,
Wow.
13.
All over the country, they're still.
They're still there. Not so much around here. We were one of the first to kind of get away from that completely. Like we don't have any flash. So when you used to walk into tattoo shops, you'd walk in through the front door and all the walls around you would be covered in hundreds of sheets of pre-designed
I
tattoos.
remember those.
Yeah, and you could just pick a number and a letter and a number off the wall, and they would, they just tattoo it on you. And we went out of our way to be like, we're not doing that. We don't want that. We don't like the look of that. We want to do custom work. We want to make sure we had like a different environment.
They would have these horrible poster racks with these.
Oh, yeah.
sliding-
Yeah,
oh my
yeah,
god,
yeah.
So
Horrible.
gross.
That was the first shop I worked in, was like that.
It's almost like
Speaking of
flipping through a
terrible.
book of fake tattoos to get at a carnival.
Exactly. Like literally, it was like that. It
Wow.
was literally like you would walk in, and it wasn't even like a rack necessarily. It would be your walls would just be covered.
He's like 12, so like this is the first he's hearing about this.
What's that, tattoos?
Well, just
You
so
mean
you know,
that they're not all fake?
they did have someone check his ID before he got in here. You
The door
cannot
says
come
18
in-
and up, yeah.
You cannot come into Undead Ink if you're not 18 or older.
That is true. I'm joking.
Yeah.
Toy Story is not 12. Sorry.
12 and a half.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, yeah, but so what you were saying originally, usually people come in with ideas, like Tony said, they're not usually great, but they generally have like a spot they want to be in. They kind of come in with a general idea, and then they're fairly open. So some people are really, really specific. Some people are very open. So they'll come up with a general idea, and then they'll be like, yeah, just do whatever you want because they trust you. But sometimes they'll be really, really specific, and it makes life really difficult.
Yeah, is it hard to sway them if they're very set on what they want? And
yeah,
if it looks like
I mean,
crap?
it depends. You got to be like a little bit of a used car salesman.
Yeah.
So like you got to try to kind of find a way to be like, your idea is not great.
Yeah. Without saying that.
Maybe do it this way. Like, but you know, I always throw the joke out because people will constantly come in and say, "Oh, just do whatever you want." I'm like, you don't want a Wolverine tattoo, bro. Because if
Do you
tell
like
me,
Wolverine that much? If you do, that's a different
I'm like,
story.
buddy, don't tell me to do whatever I want. You will end up with some crazy comic stuff on you. Like I'm gonna want to always do comic or like some weird. I'm gonna do a Dolph Lundgren from Masters of the Universe.
Oh
I'm dying. I'm dying to do a Dolph Lundgren or a Skeletor from Masters
Just do
of the
that on
Universe.
him.
That might be.
That might be it.
I can do Skeletor. I don't know if I can agree
I'm
to
down for
Dolph
Skeletor.
Lundgren.
Yeah, I'm down. I'll get you in tomorrow. I'm telling you, I'm dying to do a Skeletor, but that's the type of. They're like, do whatever you want. I'm like, you do not want the things I like. You will not enjoy this. You will walk through life with Dolph Lundgren on your leg. I'm not playing games with you, man.
Just nobody tell my dad, all right?
He's not listening to this.
He listens to the first one. He goes, "Yeah, it was all right."
Oh my God.
Not for me.
Thanks, Dad.
So do you guys get out? You do a lot of comic book stuff, right? Or is that a miss?
I do a fair amount of comic stuff.
25%.
So 20.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would say like 25, maybe a little less. It's kind of hit or miss because we have a really good community where like everyone likes to get tattoos. Like comic book guys like to get comic book tattoos, which is cool. But it doesn't constantly come in. Most of the time, it's like the more regular tattoo fair where it's roses and skulls and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and like the what you'd call like the regular-ish more stuff where it's like more universally loved kind of stuff. So like that's more what people are into. Lots of stuff like that. Less comic booky stuff, but I get to do a good amount of comic book stuff comparatively to like what I feel like most people do.
Nice.
I
So
get
when
to do.
so when they come in with comic book stuff, do you get a lot of the same characters that people want?
I get a lot of Batman.
I thought
Batman
so.
is probably the most consistent. Joker is the second one.
Yeah. So how do you keep that interesting when you get a lot of the same characters coming in?
I try to change it up. Like, luckily, since I'm relatively learned in this, I get to kind of get away with being like, well, what kind of, like, I've had people come in and be like, oh, I want a Joker tattoo. I'm like, which Joker? I'm like, what? I'm like, well, do you want, we can do, do you want to go really old school? You want to go into the Dick Sprang? I know you all love. I know you all love Dick Sprang.
Oh yeah.
Usually they just
Great
want Heath
artist.
Ledger.
99% of the time it's Heath Ledger. But so
Really?
every now and then, like I got
Not
to
a
do.
purist.
But I'll throw out Brian Boland, and I'll throw out the.
Well, you did a Jack Nicholson. You did a mime, right?
No, I never did a Nicholson. I still haven't done a Nicholson Joker.
Really? Wow.
Never. Not yet.
You did Nicholson though, right?
My
Did you
back-
do Jack Torrance?
I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, that's
I've
what I'm
done it.
thinking
Yeah,
of.
I've done a Jack Torrance portrait.
I recall that one. That was
Yeah.
really good.
But it's always funny when you get those like kind of those guys who really don't know. They're just like, oh, I want whatever character, and you're just
Woodstock.
like, which version?
Yeah.
Woodstock.
Caesar
Which
Romano.
version? But you kind of
Caesar
throw.
Romero.
I got lucky one time. Somebody came in and I got to do like a Bermejo inspired Joker, which
Oh,
I'd never
that's
done
awesome.
yet. And I
Wow.
was just like, yeah, let me just do my own, but I want to do it kind of like he did it, and I got to do a pretty cool
Nice.
one. So that's usually how it goes with that, like keeping it fresh. You try to since I do draw, okay, I kind of get away with being like, I'm just gonna draw my own. I can kind of, get away with that. So kind of, as long as they don't have a specific one.
Nice. Very cool.
So what's the biggest challenge with getting an actor's likeness down?
Probably for the most part, just making sure you got like your there. Everyone's kind of got a specific feature. It's why caricatures kind of work best, and why characters always kind of look like everyone. Whenever you get one done, they're like, oh, that's that person, because somebody has a big nose or big ears or something. There's something weird going on, and you can't really shy away from that. So you got to kind of steer into that skid a little bit. So if someone's got something strange about their face or something very oddly specific to them, that's kind of the best way to get a likeness. You kind of can't shy away from that. If someone's got messed up teeth or weird eyes or lazy, something weird, like, you just kind of have to steer into that skin and try to find that defining feature and just kind of hone in on that and make sure you have, a lot of people kind of don't know how portraiture works. Usually they're trying to nail something stupid like eyes, whereas like your eyes are actually like the least important part of your face. Like most people, when you're talking especially, are looking at your nose, your mouth, and especially the shape of your head. You probably know this because you're an art kid.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. So like the first thing is the shape of the head. So if your shape of your head is wrong, the whole face is wrong. Then it's your mouth, because that's usually what people are looking out of the nose. So your nose and your mouth are the second most important. And the last thing you care about is eyes, because eyes are usually 2 or 3 shapes.
I usually zone in on the left eyebrow.
There you go.
You weirdo.
You would.
That's an incredibly strange place to look. But
Well,
that's,
no, just specifically with you.
oh, okay. I have an animated left eyebrow. It is true.
In general, you want to get the general stuff correct.
Yeah,
before you
yeah.
start honing in on the
Yeah,
detail
exactly.
stuff.
So
The detail is
yeah.
less important than the overall look.
Just to clarify, because like I'm sure we might have listeners who aren't very familiar with tattooing or what tattoos look like. We're not just talking about like kind of like sailors and like stuff that was drawn in a comic book. I mean, you have like portrait level artwork that shows up on these tattoos.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
anyone
like
who
I
hasn't
gotta.
followed Undead Ink, the work that comes out of here is just, you would think that it was done in like a museum somewhere. It's just like off the chart work.
But good work's
Thanks.
becoming the standard now. Like ever since we opened, every place is popping up all over the place where you're gonna get great work.
Yeah, it's at we say it all the time. It's at this point where it's your own fault if you get a bad tattoo. At this
Yeah.
point, like
The
there's so
bar
many
has
outlets.
been raised.
Right.
The shops are all nicer, the artists are all better, and they cost a lot more money than they used to. It's
Yeah.
really not the old days.
No. And it's like you said, it's way different. It's not like for most people that.
My Uber Eats is here.
Did you get the cheese?
Nice. Thanks, Uber
Um,
Eats.
Do you want?
Yeah,
Do you want to? You're looking for sponsorship?
We could use one from Uber Eats. We use it all the time. No, but so like as to what you were saying, the difference between probably what.
That was a
Most
tattoo
people-
needle, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
It just went quiet. That was cool.
So the difference between probably what most people are relatively familiar with then it comes down to when most people think of tattoos, and then
Yeah.
portraiture. It's like I had to do a portrait of someone's kid who passed away, and like
Oh my
from
God.
cancer, and he was like 12 years old or 10 years old. He was a young kid, and it's like it's not like I'm sitting down to do a piece of flash off the wall. I have to make sure that this looks like this guy's
Looks right.
son who
Yeah.
and there's just no leeway.
Jeez.
Like it's in full color. It's not black and gray. It's got to be him. It's got to be his face. And he was sick, so he wasn't like he had flaws, and he had these physical kind of little things about him that you have to put in there, otherwise it's not him.
Right.
And then you kind of like struggle with that, and there's like a whole other side to that stuff that comes in where you got to kind of make sure you're doing the right job and make sure you're doing a good job. It's not, you're not sitting down doing some Sailor Jerry stuff. It's like you gotta it's not a it's not just a thing, it's a person, it's their whole thing. You gotta make sure you're doing that justice, especially for someone like that.
Oh yeah.
It's a high pressure, and it's really tough. Like, so yeah, that's where it comes being way different.
Yeah.
I brought the whole room down.
Yeah,
you did.
Yeah,
so
you
hard.
We're just gonna give a brief minute.
Most of it's actually people that just want to look cool. That was
Yeah.
like
Yeah, 90% of it is just people who want to look cool and have some cool stuff on them. So it's way less crazy that way.
It's a way to get what you like put on you nowadays. Like people are just
Yeah.
covering themselves with
stuff they love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's
not
not
that
as
big of a
serious,
deal
and it's not
anymore.
nearly as
Nobody's
serious.
taking it serious.
Yeah.
The tattoo industry really just let loose, and I think that's something the comic industry needs to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very uptight in these comic book
Oh
stores.
man.
They feel like museums. Like, why can't they just revamp these things? Make them organized, make them clean, play music or something.
I think there are ones that are trying to do that. I feel like
Well,
Royal,
like
Royal
Newberry
is
Comics
definitely-
is like Hot Topic.
Yeah,
That's true,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
I don't count that.
Yeah.
Well, Zach used to run. You guys used to run. Oh, what am I calling you, Jobo?
Bojo.
Bojo, don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
Yeah,
Call me
it's fine.
Zach, it's fine.
You guys used to run
Mr.
Galaxy
Whiskies.
Quest all the time, right? Like on loop, you used to run Galaxy Quest.
Yes, we do.
Which is great.
We used to play movies on loop that I would hate, but you could play Galaxy Quest from open to close.
And you'd
I
sit
would-
there just
Highly
watching.
underrated
I
movie.
would still
Highly
enjoy
underrated.
it.
Yeah.
I love
We watch
Galaxy
Fast
Quest.
and Furious in here every day.
I
on
can't
Fast
anymore.
Forward.
Enough.
I remember him
Enough.
complaining
I
about
could
I mean,
actually,
talking
I
about
could
that.
go for that forever.
I love that movie, but we gotta calm down.
3 or 4 more
You're
times
all gonna
max.
lose it. You're gonna lose it soon.
The Batman and Robin wasn't bad when we walked in.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I love that. I love putting on terrible
Yeah.
old movies and just letting
It's
them
probably
run.
so fun to make fun of all day.
We've been
It's
talking
great.
of forever to do like a terrible like superhero movie night.
I'm in. I'm so in.
Like the
Can we
first
watch the old Captain America from the 90s?
Yeah, I
or
yes.
the unreleased Fantastic Four. Has anybody else watched that?
I've seen
I haven't
that.
seen
I've
it now.
seen bits and pieces.
Oh
They
my
spent the
God.
entire budget on the final scene with the Human Torch, and then the rest of the movie was just atrocious.
It's atrocious. It's so amazing. We have to watch it.
There's a
Yes.
made-for-TV
Oh,
movie,
please.
Doctor Strange movie from the 70s.
I have that. I have that.
Yeah, that was gonna be my first pick.
Never seen it. I'm in.
Yeah.
I would be
Absolutely.
You know who plays like the who's like the evil witch from Morgana Le Fay?
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Morgan Le Fay?
it's
Morgan
the
Le Fay.
mom from Arrested Development,
down. Oh my
and
god!
she looks amazing.
Oh my God, Jessica Walters.
Jessica
or Jessica
Walters.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was gonna say Mallory Archer.
Yeah, I downloaded that. I have that.
That's
It's
incredible.
That's phenomenal.
tough to get through.
So since we're kind of on, we've been talking about some movies and celebrities. I've knowing from following you guys have a decent amount of athletes and celebrities who come in here.
Oh, that's all Tony.
That's it all, Tony.
Yeah. Surprisingly enough, we've had 4 NFL guys in here.
That's
and
awesome.
2 of them are like the nerdiest dudes.
Really?
Like Magic the Gathering level nerdy.
Wow.
What's wrong with magic?
You'd be surprised.
It's nerdy. I'm
That's
saying.
I'm just saying
And,
it.
like,
That's
that's
what we're
the
about.
ultimate level.
Yeah.
a
That's,
lot of
yeah.
people.
if you're Magic the Gathering or you're like Dungeon Master,
That's final form.
there you go. You're
nerd
final
right
form,
there.
man. If you're Dungeon Master, you're final form, and there is literally nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with D&D. We actually almost played D&D a few times.
Sorry, our dungeon
Sorry.
master isn't here tonight. we have a dungeon master.
I
He's
know,
literally not
we
here.
know.
I
That's-
played once at work.
You did, right?
Yeah, some
Yeah.
kid brought in this whole sheet, and we sat there on the
Dude,
train.
it's
and
fun.
played
Should we
it.
play our next game here?
It's fun.
Oh, our one friend loves it.
It is fun.
Yeah. Oh, Brian loves it.
Yeah, he's big into it. He's a karate guy. He
Yeah.
loves
Yeah.
Listen,
D&D.
we've actually bumped it up a notch where now like our maps are 3D because we have 3D printers, so we print out the maps. So
tiles,
it's all
yeah.
3-dimensional, huge
Oh, wow.
monster. Yeah.
Do you get like game pieces too? You
We
just,
all
like,
have
move
them. Yep.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yep.
I don't know if I could
Sick.
do it. Can't-
There's
I
tiers
can't
of
do it.
geekdom.
Once you start the first game, you're gonna be like, huh, kind of like this.
I did. I started the first game. And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I kind of don't like
Yeah.
this.
All right, so it's not for everyone.
It's certainly not.
No,
now.
no, I can see why it's fun. It's. I just can't act. I just.
Gotcha.
And
I don't
when
think
my
you have-
friend- once my friend changes his voice, I lose it. I can't even be in the room with him right now.
yeah, we
He
don't
became a
get
wizard. I
we
was
don't get
like,
that
much into
crazy.
that, yeah.
We don't change voices.
Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah, we keep a pretty even keel for that. So who are some of these guys who've come in and repped
Is there, like,
Undead Ink?
Is there like tattooist and tattooee like confidentiality?
No, they're on Instagram.
Everything's on Instagram. No, James O'Hagan's actually a local kid who's from Seaford, actually. And he's on the Giants right now.
Nice.
And he came in, he was talking about all types of nerd stuff. He wants to get Captain America tattooed on him next.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a big superhero fan. He knew first appearances and stuff. He was a good guy.
Nice.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
hopefully he makes a team. He's a nice guy, local kid. It would be cool to see him make it.
That'd be awesome.
Cool.
They need everyone they can get, so.
Yeah, definitely. What about you guys? You guys do any non-nerd stuff? Like, what about fantasy football? You guys do that?
I do.
He does.
I'm on
Yeah.
2 teams this year.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like sports nerd.
Nah.
Yeah.
I actually
I
play.
do it so I actually have to pay attention to what's going on in like, the
Nice.
football world. Otherwise, it's just like, oh yeah, it's the Super Bowl this weekend.
Oh no.
You know, he's the first person to ever ask us a question.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
I want
Thank
to know
you.
about
That's-
you
I,
guys.
I played college basketball.
That's pretty
Nice.
cool.
Basketball most
Well,
of my
you're a
life.
giant.
You're a very tall
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, I'm pretty tall.
We have an Undead Ink game going. You should come down.
All right, definitely let me know.
There you
Oh,
go.
they're horrible.
I have to strap on all my equipment though. It takes me about 4 hours. So
Oh,
I need advanced notice.
I rock a
get old.
stone cold knee brace the whole time
Yeah.
I play. It's all
Yeah, I'm not messing around. I don't jump at all. If I'm not wearing my ankle braces. Stuff's like, can you reach that? It's like I'd have to jump a quarter of an inch. Not happening. You're gonna need to give me 45 minutes.
Oh damn.
I'm gonna need a recovery period.
Yeah.
For that.
No, we keep them light. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm super into music. I waited 9 hours to see Iron Maiden last Friday.
Okay.
I got front row. Sick.
Was it fun?
Nice.
Yeah.
You had a
Best
great
day of my
time?
life.
Point at me.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What about you? Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I'm a big flyer. I fly airplanes. I like to
Okay.
fly.
That's awesome.
If I'm not flying, I'd like to go scuba diving. You know, it's all
Or
good
jump-
stuff.
Those are
jump
two
out of the
awesome
plane.
Or jump out of airplanes. Take your
Oh,
pick.
you go skydiving?
Take your pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
Can I strap to your back? Can
Let's
you
go.
strap to my back?
No, I don't
This,
do that.
this
I don't.
guy's
Want,
an insurance
Oh, you're
agent.
not like
Worst
the,
nightmare.
shh. I don't want to be responsible for anybody.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not like that.
I've always been like kind of maybe not with skydiving. So
Bye, Tom Pilari.
You know, I used
I'm
to
like,
jump a
I'm
lot
still
out
on
of
the fence.
in the
I've
mil-
always wanted to. I feel like I wouldn't
I used
when I
to-
get there though.
Yeah, I used to jump a lot when I was in the military. So it's I
Oh,
always-
yeah,
I always
airborne?
fixed it. No, I was Navy, but I
Okay.
I learned outside, and we had a helo on our aircraft. So I was a SAR swimmer, surface air rescue. So I'll jump out of the helo and all that
Sick.
good stuff. But yeah, good stuff.
That's awesome.
So circling back to you said like 25% of your stuff is like comic book stuff, right? Like, do people come in with like specific like styles that they want? I know Tom, who just left, like came in and he was like, I want 5 Batmans on my arm. It's gotta be this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. But like, do they have like certain people that they want to do, or like, I don't know. Do you have like a leeway to do your own style on stuff?
Usually people are fairly specific, so they're usually pretty specific about character, and then the artist is usually a little bit
Like they have
kind of
no
more
idea.
fluid. It depends on who it is. So sometimes people are really knowledgeable and they'll be like, I definitely want Jim Lee Batman, or I definitely
Yeah.
want Joker from Killing Joke, or so. Like that's usually what it is. But there's more often than not, it's usually like the guy who I tattooed today. I did a Venom tattoo today,
Nice.
and that dude,
Awesome.
Yeah, it was really good.
yeah.
that
Oh
looked
well,
good.
that was Eric Henson, I think, was the artist that he brought me. Was the picture. I emailed him today and was just like, hey, is it cool if I tattoo this? Because I always want to double check that.
So you do that
Nice.
when
Yeah, when it's
When you can-
non-published. So if it's
Okay.
like a Jim Lee piece from Hush, or like a
I got
a big artist that's already been published and it's
Yeah,
in the
'cause you've done
magazine.
the Alex Ross stuff, right? He's not going to get back to you.
I've heard that he's not a huge fan of that,
Oh,
but
really?
actually, a guy who I did a big Alex Ross piece on got a book signed at a when he did the Marvelocity book.
Yep.
He had a book signing in the city, and the kid went. And he showed him, and he was kind of like a little ambivalent about it. Like he wasn't like, "Oh, that's awesome" or anything. He was like, "Oh, cool," and just signed the book and didn't say
it's
anything.
probably kind of weird for some people to see.
Yeah, because like you never know like how they feel about you profiting off of like their artwork. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, I spent like a lot of money on an original from him, so it
I've
evens out.
seen it.
Yeah.
It's
Any money I've
gorgeous.
made from Alex Ross's artwork on my end is way overshadowed by the painting I bought. So I think we're fair.
Alex, if you're listening.
I feel like he's like a monotonous kind of guy, though. That might have just been him getting excited.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hope there's no saltiness about it, but again, like I try to support, especially if I'm if I don't have a clearance or anything like that, I try to at least support the artist. But if I anybody who's like maybe just starting out or isn't really, or if it's a piece of art that's not published, if it's a commission piece or a random sketch or something like that,
So the-
it's
online.
it's
So the one
it's
today
that-
wasn't published.
No, it's just he's just some dude who I guess was on DeviantArt or something like that.
So he
It
got
was
back
just
to you?
Yeah, he got back to me within like an hour and was just like, "Yeah, it's cool, man. I hope it comes out cool, and I'm perfectly fine with it." And I've done that with a few artists, just
Nice.
double checked with them, make sure it's all right. So I've done that with quite a few artists. But like if it's like I said, if it's something that's published in a comic, I don't feel quite as bad or necessary, and especially Jim Lee and stuff like that, they usually are really cool. Like they repost, and they're usually pretty cool about seeing their work. They're like, oh, that's really awesome. If I see them
They've reposted your
reposting-
stuff.
No. But if they
Okay.
repost,
Other-
if I
other
see,
people's.
if I see on their Instagram they repost and like, check out this awesome piece. I assume they're all right with tattoos because they don't really care.
I was
And
trying-
he's rich, so who cares?
Yeah.
So like,
I was trying to send Scotty Young here. I think when he was doing
Yeah,
the last
yeah,
time
yeah.
he went to New York Comic Con, he's like, "Hey, anyone know any good tattooers in New York?" I was like, "Yes, absolutely, I do."
that would be awesome. I
Scotty
love
Young is
Scotty.
actually my favorite comic book artist.
Yeah,
He's
he's
awesome.
awesome.
I
Like,
really like his
Yeah.
I have
covers.
like 3 original pieces of art from him. It's pretty cool. It was tough to get. Now it's like impossible. Luckily, like that first year I got into it, like he was putting stuff on his own website.
Yes, he was.
Then like with everyone else, he got with he's like I think Felix comic
Yeah,
art.
I actually picked up
Yeah.
a piece from that too. He did
Oh,
an
did
Old
you?
Man Logan from when the movie came out. When Logan came out, he did a
Oh,
piece
that's
of
cool.
like Old Man Logan throwing back some beers. And I was like, I gotta have that.
Scotty Young used to do a daily sketch, and he used to sell it every
Yes.
single day.
Yeah.
It was
Yep.
like, it was
Oh,
like
it was
Scotty
great.
and this was before that. It was like Scotty and Scott, I think, was their website. It was Scotty Young and I think Scott Morse, but I don't know for sure. It was hilarious, man.
I got when he was doing the daily sketch, it was a He-Man. It was like this like
Yeah.
ridiculously muscled out He-Man and like a little battle cat like right next to him. This is amazing. I'm getting it. I don't care how much it
That's
is.
brilliant. That's brilliant.
Amazing.
All right. So what are we gonna talk about?
So,
next?
so I don't know, mashups. Have you taken characters from two different worlds?
I actually did a really cool one. I just sort of wrapped one up, which I was really, really happy about. I did a full wrist to shoulder Fantastic Four piece. So the whole top piece was the Alex Ross 70th Marvel anniversary cover, where they're in front of the spaceship launching, and they have them all in their astronaut helmets and stuff like that. So the whole top is that, and then elbow down is all Kirby. So I went and did half of the half sleeve or half of the sleeve is all Kirby, original Kirby art, and then the whole top half is like the evolution of that, which for me will always be Kirby to Alex Ross is like that's the progression, like the most kind of not simplest, but like the original version of what these guys look like. And then Alex Ross took basically those bare bones and just turned them into photorealism in the same vein. Like they all have the same facial structure, they all have the same look. He structures everything the exact same. He just makes it photorealistic, which I thought
That's
was
cool.
a really cool progression. So that was like a
Nice.
really awesome mashup.
Before you took your break, you said you had read like Marvels. Was like that one of the last things you were reading before you took your break? from
Before I took a
comics?
break, yeah,
Yeah.
it was probably 94, 95,
Yeah, 94,
and
95.
then probably by the time I turned, so around probably 2000 is when I really took a big break, or like it's probably around then.
That makes sense.
So I was like 14, and I was like, I like drinking. I like drinking and doing other things.
Then later on, you're like,
so-
huh, those comics were kind of cool back then.
well,
Let's
you
see
know
how
what
they
it
are
was?
now.
Well, you know what it was. I started working.
You got money.
Yeah, that's true.
I got
Bought your
paid.
childhood. That's what people do.
That's what
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
do.
That's
100%. You give a 30-year-old or 30, you know,
We're
yeah,
in that
those 30
wheelhouse
time.
right there.
Yeah, your 30-year-old money, and that's it. Like but I
Spent $70 on a Goldberg T-shirt.
there you go. Just buying back the youth, right?
Yep.
So,
But,
so looping back, we were going to talk about, I guess, the strangest tattoo.
Oh, weirdest stuff on me.
Weirdest
Oh,
stuff
you
on
got
you.
some weird stuff.
I
on
got-
Or
you.
some weird stuff you've done on other
I got
people.
Jonah Hill screaming women's shoes from The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh my
Back
God.
of my leg.
What?
I've actually seen that. I've seen
Really?
I didn't do that one.
I got,
Unfortunately,
I
I
got
didn't do
Teen
that one.
Wolf on my leg.
That one I did.
I got,
No,
That's
you
awesome.
don't. Not only.
Michael
No,
J.
no, wait.
Fox?
No, wait. I should clarify. Not
That
only
was
does
the
he
first
have.
weird one I got.
Not only does he have Teen Wolf, he has Teen Wolf's face, like howling, and then above it is him dunking, like full spread eagle dunk.
No, he
from the
doesn't.
movie. Dead serious.
I just saw it.
Nah, yeah, I got a bunch.
You got some.
It's
You have a.
just-
You have a.
it's fun. I didn't really care. I just collected them over the years. I got a horror sleeve. I don't even like horror movies. I
That's
think
pretty
thought they would look cool.
Oh,
I was gonna ask.
let's
what,
let's not even discuss the 200 guns on your back.
Oh,
when
yeah.
you
Oh,
hate
goodness.
guns.
I'm okay with.
All right,
guns.
now
I
you're
came
okay.
around.
When you came around on them, but you still don't want 200 guns from the. You don't want the the poster from the Expendables 1 on your back anymore.
Yeah, I gotta get that one lasered.
Did I see that you have Smalls on
Yeah,
your from
yeah.
A bunch of people I don't
Oh
talk to
my
got
God.
matching tattoos.
That is
Yeah. Oh
awesome.
my God, that might be the coolest thing that's ever happened. By the way, in tattooing, I feel like that's
Is that
pretty
Johnny
awesome.
Bravo?
He,
Why is that on
um,
the front? No, who is that?
What are you looking at?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
okay.
don't worry about
Okay, okay.
Don't worry about
Never
that.
mind.
That's fine.
So what was it? 2007?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I did Smalls on You, right? Was the first one?
No,
or something like
Squints
that.
was the first
Squints
one.
was the first one. Okay, so one of our friends, Joe, got Squints on his leg from the Sandlot, and then you got Smalls, I think,
Yeah,
or
we
something
just
like that.
decided to.
And I just got
everybody was-
9 people to get the entire lineup from the Sandlot
That's
tattoo. All
cool.
different people. So I did everyone except Nunez, and who else?
The heater.
The Heater. Yeah, just the Nunez. Wow, just the black kid.
Is it ever surprising
So
what people
horrible.
are willing to get tattooed on themselves?
Dude, I couldn't believe I got 8 different people. to
That,
get 8
that,
different
that blows
Are
my
you kidding me?
mind.
Like
You
I got
twins to get Timmy and
twins. No,
Tommy.
they weren't twins. They were brothers, but they got the twins.
They could have been twins for the story, bro.
Like to be
we're gonna
accurate.
edit that part out. We're gonna edit that part.
Did anybody get the lifeguard check?
Did anyone
Wendy
get Wendy
Peppercorn?
Peppercorn?
Yeah,
Yeah, someone
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Someone did. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't
Wendy
think anybody
Peppercorn?
got the dog though.
No one got Hercules. No one got
Hercules.
James Earl Jones.
Nobody
Aw.
should get
And
James
and
Earl
no one
Jones.
got Nunez.
I get James Earl Jones. Conan James Earl Jones.
No,
That's
that
cool.
was crazy. It was like once a month I was just doing a random Sandlot character.
I mean, the coolest.
on
kid-
these
That's
group
really
on just a
funny.
group of people that
The
all
coolest
kind
kid
of
had
knew
to
each
get the
other, but
Benny,
not
right?
really.
What's the most ridiculous request you've gotten?
Oh my God, I got I'm fairly sure that this is okay to say on the show. I had a kid come in one time with his girlfriend and ask for a photorealistic portrait of her vagina on his throat, like dead serious.
On his throat.
On his
like-
neck, throat, whatever. It didn't matter where. It's on his friggin' head.
And
like
you
it don't
said,
matter. Oh yes. It was zero hesitation. I was like, absolutely. Oh no, I never did it. I didn't
So I
get
guess
to
that
do it.
lea-
I'm so annoyed that I never got to do this.
So that
tattoo,
leads
'cause-
into, I guess there's probably not much that you wouldn't do.
No, the more ridiculous it is, the happier I am.
Great.
So there's
Like-
no content that you would
Well,
refuse
I
to do?
mean,
Minus
obviously
hate
hate
crime
crime
stuff.
stuff, yeah.
Okay.
But otherwise, like
Do
if
people
you're
ask for that?
no, very.
That's-
It's super. Yeah, they have their own people usually for stuff
Gotcha.
like that.
Yeah, it's called prison.
Nobody walks in like, "Hey, what's up, buddy? I'm a Nazi."
Yeah, no one just throws up a Zig Heil as they walk in and just hit you with it and just like, hey, I'm gonna need 45
Bring
swastikas.
up, bring up a Pinterest page with different swastikas on.
I really like this one with the skulls in it,
You're like,
like Randy Orton swastika. It
This one was
ridiculous.
approved by the Führer.
So in body placement.
No, there's a handling fee for that that situation that you're alluding to. No, we don't get that. We don't get that serious.
Yeah, nobody asks.
No one asks for
That's
it though.
crazy.
It ain't like that anymore. Like you get some crazy kids think they're crazy. They're like, I want your name on my ass or whatever, and it's like,
never
dude, you're not.
funny.
It's not funny. You're just stupid.
yeah.
Like it's just stupid stuff. But usually stuff like that is usually like what is it, scavenger hunts? They usually have them around here. Like Oceanside always has scavenger hunts, and East Rockaway probably did too. Like senior scavenger hunt, you have to get a tattoo on your ass.
Okay.
Some weird
No
stuff.
way.
Oh yeah, that was part of it. I remember I got pulled over at Taco Bell. While I was going through drive-through at Taco Bell, someone pulled up next to me. They're like, "Can you do it for me right now?" I'm like, "Get away from me!" I was like, "Are you kidding me right now? Like, why
Wow.
open the shop so I can tattoo your ass?" No. It's like, go home.
Okay.
It was fairly ridiculous, but
That's
yeah.
hysterical.
No, there's really nothing that I like.
Yeah,
Man,
all the
you pick it, I'll
crazy
stick
stuff
it.
people
paint it.
ask. It doesn't really happen. Like
Yeah, it
people
doesn't get that
imagine.
crazy anymore, especially not here
Yeah.
because
We're
we
kind
don't.
of expensive.
Yeah,
For real.
we
Nobody
re-
come in for that.
we
crazy
really
stuff.
kind
They're
of
getting
weed
good
out
stuff
the.
if they come here, yeah.
Yeah, we kind of weeded it out at this point.
Yeah.
Like it's not
We
too
don't
crazy.
open late. We close early.
Yeah, we don't get the drunk people.
Nah.
That's smart.
It's not nearly as bad as
Our
it
place
used
is
to be.
usually open really late.
Sometimes. Like
There's one on Long Island that's open from like 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. only.
well, it's really changed, man. Like it really has changed, especially since I started. Like when I started, everyone was open late, and I didn't even start that long ago. Like you gotta remember, this is early 2000s. It wasn't even that crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now you got people charging $13 grand a day.
Yeah. Well, Nine,
piece.
$9 grand.
Wait, is that how you got the Alex Ross?
All right.
So
I sold a very unfortunate. I really wish I hadn't sold some of those books. That Punisher book haunts me a little bit.
Oh, so you sold books for the Alex Ross.
But
Yeah,
did you give it?
had
You
to.
gave that to Royal, right?
Yeah, I sold everything to Royal.
Alright, so it's not as bad.
Nah, Mike's great.
I feel like they'll give it to a good home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I could have always bought it back.
Yeah.
Which is Mike's the best, man. I hung out with Mike yesterday when I was hungover. I was like, I had nothing to do today. I'm hungover from a wedding we were at the other day. I was like, I got nowhere to be. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
go over to Royal and see if any of my books showed up from CGC.
You can just like spend it like 2 hours in there and not
Yeah.
even.
I
know.
literally
It's
didn't
great,
do
yeah.
anything. I just sat there and just watched him go. He was just looking through old books. He was sending out to get graded, and I was just like, "What's that? Spider-Man 6? Cool. Let me see."
I used to make deliveries for the shop to Royal.
Right, I remember that.
I would get lost for like an hour in there.
Yeah,
I'd be
you
like,
just hang out.
traffic,
Yeah, of course.
Meanwhile, I'm like loading up on stuff that I was like, I need that. Hey, you know, this is $5. Might as well.
I mean, sometimes I just go in there like on a random Tuesday and try to talk to him.
Yeah.
And there's like
There's still people
mobs
in
of
there, right?
There's people
yeah.
in there 24/7
Oh yeah.
trying to talk to
And
him.
they're always looking for him.
Yeah.
Tuesday is the deadest day. I don't care what anyone says. Tuesday is the deadest day at the comic shop. There's like usually nobody comes in because
Not there.
I'm
I'll wait a
usually
day and I'll get my new books tomorrow. Or I'll
Yeah.
get new books tomorrow. Like the fact that he's busy on a Tuesday, that says a lot.
Yeah. I'm usually on Mondays. I'm always at the comic book shops on Mondays, and they're usually dead.
Yeah.
Which
Monday,
is great.
Tuesday,
That's
they're
my
dead,
favorite.
yeah.
That's my favorite part about being off on Monday. I just get to run over to I get to run over to Grasshopper. I go to Grasshopper all the time
Yeah.
and just sit around and talk to the dudes, the owners there. They're great.
I love, that's what I love about this
John's
community.
cool. I like
John's
hanging out with
awesome.
John.
Yeah, I just sit around and just bullshit with John all day. It's great.
So a tattoo question I kind of had. We didn't put this up here, but so how has like the inks like evolved over the years? I'm sure like there's definitely like much more impressive like inks and like products like like from at least when you started to now, like how like quickly have you seen that evolve?
It hasn't really changed too much
More
since I
colors.
started. Yeah, now they make every single possible color you can imagine. So it used
You
to have to change. Yeah, you used to have to mix it. Now
they
it's
have everything.
You don't have to mix.
you don't have to mix anymore. But since like it became a thing, like you can attest to this. You can see in yours, it's like a little blue, a little
Mhm.
green. When did you get that done? Like
1991.
okay, so
Philippines.
it's not even that long ago.
Westpac tattoo.
There you go. So it hasn't even that long
I was
ago.
drunk as hell.
Yeah, usually how it goes.
35 cents San Miguel's.
So even that wasn't that long ago, but that they used to use printer ink. So like if you look at
What?
they used to use printer ink. So
Wow.
tattooing in I guess the 70s, 60s, 50s, whatever it was, they didn't have tattoo specific ink, so they just used printer ink, and it used to turn blue in people's arms. So that's why when you see really old tattoos, they look all the black looks blue or green.
I was wondering that.
Yeah, blues and greens because the old printer ink used to be blue and green, so it used to blow out in your skin and just turn blue and kind of green and get all loose in there because it's not meant to be in your skin. So the particles aren't really meant to stay in there. So your body's breaking it down and breaking it down, breaking it down constantly. So that blows out and blows out and blows out and turns green and orange or not green and blue and whatever.
Oh, interesting.
So
I guess that explains why another reason why you see like the difference in like the quality of tattoos.
oh
now
yeah,
from
the ink
Yeah.
made a
Yeah.
difference. So
Yeah.
probably around when I started, the big ink companies were starting to really turn it up, and then probably last 10 years, there's the Eternal and Fusion and all that stuff. Like they've been killing it.
Any changes with the needle gun?
Yeah, machines are way different. It's really weird actually. The machines kind of went to prison, right?
They're just rotaries.
Yeah, that was like a prison thing. So like we used to use coils, which was like a Thomas Edison thing or whatever. I forget who it was. I think it was Thomas Edison, where you get the contact. So you'd have a spring and it would hit back and forth, and it would kind of run on electric, and it'd make that really loud sound that everyone remembers. And in prison, they used to take rotary motors out of tape decks, and they would create continuous rotary ball-bearing motors for the tattoo machines in prison, and they would tattoo like that in prison. And then probably around 5-6 years ago or so, 7 years ago, someone just decided to make a real one, like a real rotary machine for tattooing. And they've been around for a little while, but they really weren't well used. Now everyone uses rotaries.
Wow.
And it's really weird that it's gone from like this really sophisticated kind of thought process of tattooing with these really loud electric motors to like this really quiet kind of jailhouse tattoo machines. And they work better.
That's crazy.
It's really crazy. Like
It's the mother of invention.
Yeah.
Huh.
It was pretty crazy. So
That's cool.
I had no idea, and there were like different versions of it too. They had air-driven ones at one point that were crazy loud. You had compressors in the shops. It was nuts.
Wireless is next. It's starting,
Wireless is
but
next.
It's coming sooner.
Do they
Oh,
exist?
Yeah, they exist right
but they're
now.
A little expensive.
Actually, the only company I'm sponsored by, FK Irons, is like they have all this crazy stuff like cordless power supplies, wireless power packs. So like I can. I can put like an 8-hour power pack on my machine, and I don't ever have to touch my machine to like lower, do anything with my voltage. I just wave my hand over it or something. It's crazy.
Wow.
There's
You
some
got all
crazy
these
stuff.
Instagram tattooers doing crazy tattoos on hotel balconies now.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Wow.
Everything's magnetic and everything's like super intuitive. It's really crazy. Like touch.
Wow.
It's really crazy.
So you'll soon be going, doing home deliveries.
I did that a few times actually. Like in the middle of my career, probably 7 or 8 years ago. I would like my friends would have a party at that. I remember one of my friends, Mark, who we used to live with, had a house party, and he was like, "Oh, a couple people want to get tattooed." So I literally just took over his basement and just set up a mini tattoo shop in his basement, and just was like, "No one walk in this area," and just cleaned everything and made sure everything was good to go, and just brought all my equipment to his house for 3 days and just tattooed people when they came in, and people would be drinking and being rowdy 20 feet away, and I just was tattooing. I'd be like, "Just don't pass the velvet rope," kind of thing. Like, I need to keep it clean.
Somewhat focus.
So seeing that you brought that up, noticing more and more now that we go to a lot of conventions a year, like they're now at these Comic-Cons, they're tattoo artists.
Oh yeah,
and
the
they've got their own section.
Geekster Ink thing.
Yeah. That was my idea a few years ago.
Yeah, you actually had that like slightly before.
Well, I tried to do it at New York Comic Con before they did it, but they said no.
They said no. They wouldn't
Now
let us
they're
do
letting
it.
people do it.
Are they doing it now?
I don't know if they're going to do it this year.
They let them do it 1 year. Did
Yeah.
they do it this year again or no?
Paul Booth did a tattoo there.
I know.
1 year.
He only did it 1 year though. I think they only did it 1 year, and they're not letting them do it again.
Sounds like there might
Which
be
is
an
kind
opening.
of. Listen, I'd love to tattoo
Is
at
there like,
comic conventions. It's great.
like a hygiene issue with that? Is that
No,
Yeah,
why
'cause
they
it's-
they
wouldn't
have
know?
tattoo conventions at the same place.
Yeah, the exact same places.
Rhode Island Comic Con. Remember that
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
area?
That was
they
the
have?
first
The whole back
time I
area
saw
had
it,
them.
yeah.
Those guys have like an in though. The Geekster Ink guys, anything like Wizard World, they have like a overall deal with them. I think where they can go and tattoo at those shows.
Well,
That's
you
cool.
did something with that guy from there, right? You did some type of competition with the guy from Rhode Island.
Which guy?
Oh,
Oh, I did a collab with
Yeah.
with Evan Olin.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not one of those guys, but
Oh, okay.
he's just from Rhode Island. He's
Oh, I
just a
thought
dude
that
from
was
Rhode Island. No, he's just a ridiculously good tattooer from Rhode Island. It was like stress of my life to tattoo next to that dude. Driving me nuts. That was ridiculous. I actually went like full on commando into Philadelphia tattoo convention. Like I didn't have any of my paperwork or nothing done, and I just kind of walked in because you're supposed to fill out all this stuff and do all this paperwork and stuff to get into these conventions, and I just didn't. I just showed up. And was like, I'm full renegade. And I was just like, I'm just gonna sit at this station and tattoo. And like, luckily, all their paperwork and stuff had been done already, so they didn't come back to check because they don't ever. So they did it the day before. So I just sat down and started working. And I was like, if they check for my stuff, I'm not gonna have stuff. They're gonna throw me out. And so they just didn't check though.
Do you like doing those?
What, conventions?
Yeah.
If I don't have to go too far, it's nice. It's a good time to some degree, but it's like it wouldn't be the same as doing a comic convention. So if I get tattooed at a comic convention, it's great because I got nothing to do. I can just walk around. I can check out books. I can talk to people and do that whole thing. But at a tattoo convention, I'm kind of
It's
just
just
like it's
tattoos,
either
right?
tattoo or drink.
Yeah.
There's really no in between. Like there's no fun day had.
And
It's-
do each of them have like awards that they give out and stuff like that?
Yeah, so each show has like different categories and awards. You get your first, second, third places and stuff like that.
Clearly, you've won them all because of what we
Oh,
see
this
around
is
the shop.
this is not nearly.
Dude, you have them
all.
turned sideways to try and fit them on shelves here.
Actually, 90% of these are from one person. One person's collection has most of these awards. It's pretty impressive.
Wow.
Our buddy Frank DeLuca has like a full leg sleeve of all 80s movie characters. He's got some awesome stuff he let me do on him. So he's got Indiana Jones. He's got Matt Dillon from Outsiders. Yeah, from
That's cool.
Outsiders. He's
That's
got
cool.
Mike Barnes, the bad boy of karate from Karate Kid 3, which
The
was my
only
choice.
person-
He made the mistake of being like, you can do any character from Karate Kid as long as it's from Karate Kid. And I'm like, is Karate Kid 3 from the 80s? He's like, as long as it's from the 80s, it's fine. I'm like, what year was Karate Kid 3? He goes, 89. I'm like, you're getting Mike Barnes. No options, no
He
discussion.
might be back for Cobra Kai.
Is he really? Oh my God!
I'm hearing rumors.
I gotta watch that whole show.
I've really
I've
enjoyed
watched
it.
it
I
yet.
think you'd like it too.
I saw the first like 5 episodes. It's awesome.
Yeah.
You watched all of it though, right?
I watched the first season. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The second
thought it was
season
great.
gets like crazy.
Yeah.
Didn't expect it to like go off the rails like it did.
I gotta check it out.
Well, because Kreese comes back, so.
Oh yes, that was the other option. It was either Mike.
Spoiler alert.
Dude, I had the Mike Barnes picture, but I had to work from the poster from this that he's punching on the wood block when he's training with Silver, and I was like, it's so it was like it had to be maybe 2 inches by 2 inches in the printout, and I had to blow it up and try and get his likeness and stuff, and I was like, man, this might not work, but I have a backup, and it was John Kreese when he jumps out of the what's it called, from behind the stand-up in the Sojo. He like jumps out. He's like, ah! It's like, so I had that as the backup. So it was either Mike Barnes or John Kreese jumping out of the back of
That would have been amazing.
Either one. I was super happy. I was just so glad I got to do Mike Barnes. He's my favorite character in Karate Kid. It's ridiculous.
So who got the gator? Gator's got his gat.
This dude, I had a
That wasn't you.
cancellation.
I
He's a
would have.
rapper.
Yeah, he's a rapper, right? Yeah.
What's his rap name? I was trying to shout.
Oh man, hang on. It's on.
It's
my,
like Bam Boy or something like that.
Yeah. Let me see.
Have you guys seen this? Do you know who I'm talking about
No.
From the other guys,
the other guys?
my
Will
favorite Will Ferrell
and
movie.
Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, I think I did see this.
His
Oh my God.
his gator character in that.
It's
Fantastic.
It's unbelievable. So I had a cancellation one day. This thing.
Yes, that's it.
So I had a cancellation. This thing is
That's Will
amazing.
Ferrell, by the way.
That is
So-
awesome.
I had a cancellation. Oh, his username's different now. I don't know what it is. Bam. It's something Bam.
Yeah.
His Instagram was it's Bam124. I have no idea what it is now. But I had a cancellation. I just put it on the internet. I was like, hey, I want to do something cool. Like somebody come in like 2 days or whatever. Really short notice. I was like, I want to do something cool. And this dude just hit me up and goes, I want Gator. Will Ferrell Gator from the other guys, but with how do you say triple?
XXX Tentacion.
Yeah, his tattoos on his face, and I was like, I'm effing in. Like, there's no way I'm not doing this tattoo. Let's
That's awesome.
give it to me right now. Bring your.
He drove
I
from
think
Baltimore.
he drove from Baltimore.
Wow.
No way.
Wow.
To get it done that day, and I was just like, "This is amazing."
That's
and
cool.
the whole time, I'm just like, "This is the greatest day of my life." I'm never gonna like. There's so few things that could possibly top this. I was like, "This is the greatest thing ever." And he was great. He was such a cool dude. He was super stoked on the tattoo, and he was loving it, man.
I'll tell you
So.
what might top it if you win Feed The Geek.
Oh yeah,
This is our segue.
very
That
very
was a good
unlikely,
segue.
but
Thank
let's,
you.
let's go.
Thank you. So for those of you who, Mike, Tony, you guys do listen.
I never got this far.
Oh.
That sucks.
I don't even
Me
blame you.
neither.
So Feed The Geek is a little like quiz round. Okay.
Gotcha.
So I'm gonna hit you guys with a fun little quiz I came up
Oh,
with
it's
today.
me versus him.
Oh no, it's gonna be
You
you
versus-
versus Tony versus Jim.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna have JJ
Fair enough,
here
Jim.
join us. Okay. So this segment of Feed The Geek is gonna be all about character first appearances.
Oh, there you go.
So like I figured we'd get everyone involved, get everyone to kind of everyone's got a little bit of knowledge of those things. I'm not gonna ask you like what issue numbers and what years it was. I'm gonna give you 3 characters. You're gonna tell me in order who appeared first, who appeared second, who appeared third.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna
Alright,
give
alright.
it's 4 rounds. Everyone gets 1 question per round. Okay. If you get it right, you get a point. If
And we're-
you can tell me one of those characters' first appearance, you get another point.
Oh, okay.
You got 4 rounds. It's
So there's a
easy,
potential.
Should I keep
hard,
track?
and impossible.
Okay. Now we're talking strictly comic appearance.
Strictly
Okay,
comic book
because it's
appearances,
gonna matter at some
Strictly
point.
first full appearances, not cameos.
Full appearances.
Full
Okay.
appearances.
All right.
I
That
agree-
matters.
And I agreed to this.
Yeah.
Inadvertently, you agreed to this.
Inadvertently.
There's no choice now because me and Matt have seen the answers.
I know.
And I came up with it. I probably would still forget most of them, though.
All right, I'm keeping score.
All right, cool. Do you guys want to roll a dice to who
Nope,
goes
just-
first? Or
I'll start.
The guest
the
usually.
guest
goes
usually
first,
starts?
yeah.
All right. So we're going to do the Bat basics for the first question.
Okay.
You got Batgirl, Batman, and Robin.
Okay.
Who
It's
was
hard.
first? Who was second? Who was third?
Batman in Detective 27.
Mhm.
And then we got Robin in, Detective 39?
38.
38? Nah, I'm close. And then Batgirl in Detective 259? 252.
You're 100 issues off.
359.
Although technically Batgirl first appeared in Batman 139. But it's
Whatever.
different girl.
Actually,
I had the order
Wait.
right.
Actually, you were totally wrong. Robin shows up in Detective 15. Sorry, it's a bad joke. I'm gonna go home.
You can leave.
All right, how many points is that?
That was two.
Two.
Because you got it right and you got the extra bonus
Nice.
point.
I got one of them right.
Well, yeah.
I got one first.
You
One
only need
issue,
to-
right?
You only need to get one.
All right.
It's all good.
I tried.
Tony,
What's up, buddy?
Sector 2814. How much do you know about the Green Lanterns?
0.
Well, this might not be easy then. Hal Jordan, Kyle Rayner, John Stewart.
Hal Jordan, John Stewart, Kyle Rayner.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You can give me a first appearance issue?
It's should know
I
one of
have
them.
the John Stewart one.
Yeah.
Oh, what number is it?
I'm just gonna say 59.
87, man. It's all
Nice.
good. So that's one for Tony.
Nice.
All right.
Hal
Jim.
Jordan Showcase 22.
Yes, it is.
And
We're going to go into the Spider-Verse on this one.
oh, great! At least my favorite character.
That's actually the one I would probably know the most. Out of those three, that would
Spidey
be-
2099, Miles Morales, and Spider-Ham.
Oof.
Nice.
No, never mind.
Spider 2099.
Okay.
Spider-Ham, Miles Morales.
Okay. This was the easy question, Jim. It's
Totally wrong.
Spider-Ham 2099, Miles
See?
Morales.
Later.
I got one right?
No.
No.
No, you got the
Wait,
order
wait, wait.
wrong. But
Does
he
he-
could
does
get it.
Spider-Ham
Does he
came
get a
first.
point
get
if
an
he can
issue.
name?
Yeah,
If
can
he
you
can
name an
name
issue?
any of them?
It's only really supposed to be if he gets it right in the first.
All right,
place.
fine. It's a bonus.
All right.
Round two.
Round two. Medium. Mike.
Wait, that was the
Yeah.
easy?
That was
Yeah.
easy.
That was the hardest of the easy.
I said you were going to hate me tonight. So we're going to talk about Birds of a Feather. Jason Todd, Tim Drake, and Carrie Kelly.
Ooh.
We're all close together,
Ooh.
but
Well, all right.
who's
So,
first, who's second, who's third?
oh my God, this is legitimately tough because I can't remember if Dark Knight Returns. Oh wait, no, Carrie Kelly's not. That's not the Dark Knight Returns one. Hang on, I had that confused for a second. I'm gonna go. Jason Todd, Carrie Kelly, Tim Drake.
Wow.
That's right.
Well done.
You were
But Carrie
you were
Kelly
correct though. Carrie Kelly was in.
Is
Dark
right. All right.
Yeah,
Because I couldn't remember. I'm thinking of which one's Cassidy? Or-
Cassidy.
I thought one of them wasn't one of their real names Cassidy. I'm bad at that.
Isn't that
I
the
don't
new
know.
girl?
It's
No,
wait,
I
yeah,
don't think so.
It's the girl who doesn't talk.
yeah,
It's
right, or
Cassandra.
Cassandra.
Cassandra Cain. That was,
Yeah, yeah.
That was later.
Because
you wanna
that's why I got confused. Because I was like, if it's
I could
her,
add
that's
to an
late.
impossible one another time.
Do you have a first appearance?
Oh,
for any
first
of them?
appearance. Oh man, I'm gonna say it's
For who?
for Jason Todd, Batman 357.
Yeah, buddy. That's two for Mike.
Killer Croc too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's 4 total, right?
Yeah, he's got
Yeah.
4.
Jeez.
Tony.
What's up?
Sony thinks these guys can carry a movie. Okay. Craven the Hunter, Morbius, and Venom.
I know you know at least one of those.
Those are comic book
Let's
characters?
go. Let's go the order you gave them, bro.
That's exactly right.
Nice.
100%.
Nice.
I should have specified. Sometimes
You-
they're
you-
jumbled, sometimes they're not.
Venom's Spider-Man 300.
Yeah, there you go,
There
man.
you go.
And let's see.
Oh, do you know
I
more
have
than
that
one?
Morbius book.
It's actually pretty easy.
I know. What is it though?
It's like elementary.
Is it 127?
Nah,
101.
101,
101.
Yeah.
and then
Who was the
Amazing
other one?
15.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
Craven.
Amazing
15.
Just
Got
got
mine
that
from you.
from Royal Collectibles.
Did you?
A little while
Nice.
ago, yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
I got mine from you.
Did you? Oh, you bought the 6.0 for me?
Yes.
Nice.
JJ.
Or 6.5.
No, it was
6.5.
7.
Yeah.
7.5.
7.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
I downgraded to a 7.0.
Yeah.
I
remember that.
It was signed by Stan Lee.
Yeah.
I was just like, yes, I'll take the half grade drop.
Go ahead, hit me.
So these guys aren't very subtle with their names. Deadshot, Deadpool, and Deathstroke.
Oof. I actually know this one.
Say that again.
Deadshot, Deadpool, and Deathstroke. What's the order?
Deadshot. Deadlock. Deadpool.
I said Deathstroke.
Deathstroke.
Then Deadpool?
And Deadpool.
Yeah, you got it.
Oh.
Nice.
Give me a number. Who appeared where?
I got
You don't know Deadpool?
You don't
Yeah,
know
you have two of
Deadpool?
these, right?
Come
I think I
on.
have.
What is that? That's the yeah, that's that damn
You talked about it on the Batman, the Batman episode,
Was
the Deadshot one.
Was I there? Well, I don't know what that
Was
was.
It's all good.
You don't even know Deadpool?
Yeah, I know the cover. I just not.
Oh,
I'm not.
yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
Not
numbers.
the issue, yeah.
I'm not numbers. I know what the covers look like.
What was it? New
New
Mutants
Mutants
98,
98.
New Teen Titans 2.
Yep.
Yeah, New
Yeah.
Teen Titans 2. And Batman
What was-
59 from 1950 is the first Deadshot.
When's
officially.
the
'Cause
but
it
when
was
was
really-
the
wow.
when was
It
the
was like when-
reimagining though? They were the true Deadshot.
Reimagining was in the 70s. It's Detective 471, I want to say. I don't actually have the note on that. I know the cover. That one picked up a lot of steam right before
It's
the
gonna be
Suicide
rough
Yeah.
if I win this.
Yeah.
All right, on to the hard round.
Nice.
Oh, you lucked out, Mike.
What?
How long can you still be referred to as all new? All right. So my question to you is: Wolverine, Colossus, and Banshee. What's the order?
Oh my god.
Nice.
Actually, slightly confusing because if you don't really know too much, you would think Banshee was late, but Banshee's early. So it's Banshee, Wolverine, and then Colossus.
That is absolutely right.
Wow.
And actually,
What's the later
I can
Banshee
do all the later Banshee. Well, I mean,
I know the
giant
cover.
size.
Yeah.
He comes back in giant size,
Mhm.
but he shows up again
After that.
before that in like the later X-Men issues. I can't remember which
like a-
one for life of me.
Wouldn't be able to tell you. I
Couldn't
don't
tell you.
All right.
But he
Anyway.
does show up. Oh, X-Men 28, Hulk 181, and giant size X-Men 1.
I wouldn't have known
So that's 2
the
points,
number
right?
for the Banshee.
That's
I
just
knew
2
he
points.
was first though.
You know what? I really know it very well because I'm trying to do all the X-Men keys right now. So
Yeah.
that was just
Nice.
stupid easy for me. I mean, the Banshee one would have tripped me up if I didn't really know, but I knew Banshee was before everything
So
because
is
he
that,
was.
is that 6 total for him now?
Yeah,
he's,
6.
he's got the.
You got 3.
He's got it all
so-
right so
Do
far.
we have to continue? We have
Oh,
to, we have to
yeah,
continue.
absolutely.
Why not?
I could perfect.
These are fun, man. I have one.
Tony
last
can.
question
You
for
gotta beat. You gotta catch Tony.
Tony might have this. You ever see the movie The Replacements with Keanu Reeves?
He
Absolutely.
loves that movie.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about The
Maybe.
Replacements, but for comic
Shane
characters.
Falco.
So your 3 guys are James Rhodey Rhodes, John Walker, and John Paul Valley.
Wow, I know who one of those people is. Let's go Rhodes, Paul Walker. The other one.
You got the names wrong, but you got the order
You
right.
got the order right. I was about to say, didn't he get the order right though?
Wow.
You 100% did.
So I
Rhodes was.
Rhodey is Iron Man 118, so he appears long before he
I had
winds up
that
taking
book.
the Mayans.
They were like flying
Yeah.
out of the thing.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
falling out of the plane,
He's
right?
falling
With
out
all
of the
the armor. Yeah.
Well, he's got the briefcase like right.
He's got
next to him,
yeah.
I sold that book a while ago.
That was awesome. That was good.
Nice. So you got 4.
Paul Walker.
Oh, that was great. That was great.
John
Too much
Walker-
Fast and the Furious.
We
Way
talked
too
about
much.
this. John Walker first appeared in Captain America 323. That
Who
was in
is John Walker?
1986.
Is that?
U.S. agent.
Oh,
like,
okay.
before he was
All right.
US
Because I
agent,
knew
he
John.
was
I know
like
John Paul
super
Valley. I
patriot.
didn't know. I had no
Yeah.
idea who John. Yeah, no idea who John
No
Walker
clue.
is.
That's why I put him instead of Jane Foster.
There you go.
But that would have made that easy then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of name is that? Or I said that wrong. What kind of name is that? There we
Oh,
go.
there we go.
That's my question for you. So Black Panther, Shuri, and Everett Ross. Can you tell me the order?
Hey, you only know one of those.
Yes, you do.
Well, I know 2 of them.
You know 3 of them. You seen the movie?
What was the third person?
Everett Ross.
Who the hell was that?
That was the guy. That
Bilbo
was
Baggins.
yeah, Bilbo Baggins.
Oh.
Ah.
I was gonna say.
Oh,
John
I didn't
Watson.
Know, I didn't know who that was.
Oh, come on.
That was literally just me being like, I think it's that person. I'm just gonna say something to make it seem like I know in
Says
case
the
I'm
guy with
right.
6 points.
Well, I lucked out. I got
I'm
the
going to go in
X-Men
that
one.
order.
You gonna go that order?
Yeah.
You'd think Shuri would show up earlier, but she didn't.
Yeah, she was like 2014.
Yeah, I was gonna say
2005,
that's
man.
relatively new. Because I don't remember him
Still
having
that's new.
a sister
2005.
Yeah.
before that.
Black Panther's obviously FF50. Oh,
No,
that
I'm not
doesn't
going to get
matter.
it.
FF52.
He got it
Everett
wrong
Ross
anyway.
appeared in '98 in the third Kazar volume, issue 17.
I love that one.
Which I actually thought it was just like straight up in
I thought you actually
That was
read it for a second.
the Marvel Knights Black Panther series, and then Shuri was in the 2005 series that Reggie Hudlin did.
No idea.
No idea. But I remember she didn't show up for a while. Like I remember not knowing who she was at all, and then they were talking about it. I'm like, what? And then I remember that after the movie came, I was like, how is that late?
You guys ready for the impossible questions?
Oh yeah, please.
Okay.
Wouldn't hurt.
There's a lot of like mans and things in comics, right? Did you know that
Sure.
Giant-Sized Man Thing is a real title?
Yes.
All right, Mike.
Amazing.
Man Bat, Man Thing, Swamp Thing. What's the order?
Man Bat, Man Thing, Swamp Thing. What's the order? I'm gonna say. I might have these two wrong, but I'm gonna say Man Bat, Swamp Thing, Man Thing.
Believe it or not,
Swamp
Man
Thing
Thing
first.
precedes Swamp Thing by
Are you
2 months.
really? Marvel beat them by 2 months.
2 months.
The first time
Wow.
ever DC ripped off ripped off Marvel.
Wow.
How does that even happen? That's shocking.
They were developing the things at the same time, I think.
Oh
I
my
looked into
That's
that
god.
funny.
story.
That's funny. I honestly would never have guessed. I always default to the DC did it first theory.
Not always, but a lot
I
of times.
generally just do that. I'm like, meh,
It's a safe bet.
X-Men.
dark side.
You know what the real trick is? The best name is first.
That's kind of true. But I don't think
Man
I
Thing.
gotta say I don't think Man Thing is the superior name.
In the 50s, Man Thing is a dope name. What is it? It's a man thing. Let's go.
That's true.
It was all actually 1970 for Man Bat, 1971 for Man Thing. The same for Swamp Thing.
I was really
The
iffy on whether or
70s,
not
50s, same
Man
thing.
Bat came out first.
What's that?
70s and 50s. That's the same thing.
Basically, man, it was a weird. They were both
Well,
dominated by horror comics at that time. Actually, like if you think about it, 70s
Well, I
Bronze Age
knew-
big on horror.
What's Man Bat? 400?
Yeah,
Yeah.
400.
So I knew that, and I was like, I wasn't sure if that was before or after House of Secrets. I was like, I wasn't positive. So I was like, that could go either way because that's a Neil Adams joint, right?
Yeah, my
400?
chance to
Yeah.
catch up.
Yeah, man.
Let's go.
All right, this is gonna be all about the Squad.
Oh no.
You remember the Suicide Squad? The actors all got like
I
tattoos.
thought you were talking about the Congress members. I was
No.
ready to go. I got like 16 minutes ready.
Do it. So, Rick Flag, Katana, and Enchantress. Who showed up when?
Okay.
I got
Let's go with
Impossible for a
It's
reason.
Ric Flair, Katana, Enchantress.
Yeah, you had to flip Enchantress and Katana.
Wow.
It's Rick Flag in Brave and the Bold 25, 1959.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Then Enchantress in Strange Adventures 1966. Katana was in 83 and Brave and the Bold 200.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right then.
Jim, you have Spider-Man and his not so amazing friends. Ned Leeds, Gwen Stacy, Flash Thompson.
Wow, easiest one.
You should know this test.
I
way
absolutely
easy.
know it.
Yeah.
Easiest one? Say that again.
That's very easy.
That's
probably-
very
I
easy.
actually might
He
know
only
that.
knows only one of those people.
Yeah.
he said.
Ned Leeds, Gwen Stacy, Flash Thompson.
Let's go. Flash, Ned, Stacy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's right.
Oh,
100%.
Can you name
yeah.
it?
You name one of them. Can you tell us what the issue they showed up in? Stab in the dark.
Spider-Gwen 1.
Amazing Fantasy 15
No
for
idea.
Flash.
Yeah, he was in the
Oh, really?
18.
Yeah.
Amazing
Yeah.
Spider-Man 18 for Ned.
17
Yeah,
or
and I
18?
didn't
Yeah,
know.
18.
17 or
18. No, 18.
And,
18.
and she's what, 39?
31.
31.
31.
Yeah, I always mix that up.
Oh, I love that book. That's
Alright.
one of my that's one of my all time. I think I bought like 4 or 5 copies of that book at this
Do you
point.
want
Like
the
course
changing
you
do
them
you
out.
want the final challenge?
Yeah.
It's a question and all questions.
All right, Mike
I'm
wins,
in.
but
Well, I mean, all right.
yeah.
No, I'm in.
I call this question Old Man Logan Had a Farm.
Sick.
Bat Cow, Crypto, Ms. Lion.
Oh my god. I literally only know one of those things. I'm gonna go. Wait, say it again. Bat Cow, Crypto,
Bat Cow, Crypto, and Ms. Lion.
Ms. Lion.
I can't wait to tell
I
you
have
who
no
that
idea
is.
who that is.
I need a whole backstory on Ms. Lion.
I can't wait.
I'm gonna go because I know Crypto's relatively late. Like I feel like he's relatively late. Well, I
I'm
know
giving
you're
you
based on
nothing.
your face.
I'm giving you nothing.
Like later than you'd think. I felt like.
I'm trying to remember. Honestly, that was.
I actually think
I'm
I
gonna-
his
you know
first
what?
appearance.
I think you do.
I'm gonna go Ms. Cow, Crypto,
Lion.
and Ms. Lion,
Ms. Lion, Crypto,
Crow, and
and
Back Cow.
Okay, so Crypto shows up in 1955 in Adventures 210.
Really?
Ms.
Yeah.
Lion, you would recall as the small little dog with bows in her hair from Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
No,
that
I
was
wouldn't because I have
1981.
no idea what that is.
You never saw Spider-Man and His Amazing
No,
Friends?
I did. I don't remember that dog.
It's Aunt May's dog.
Nope.
All right.
And then Back Cow is in 2009 in Tiny Titans 17,
That's
although
funny.
officially in continuity in 2012.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Let's go.
What will be worth more in 2021? A Hulk 181.94 or a Bitcoin?
Right now?
No,
In
2021.
2021?
Bitcoin.
I know
Bitcoin.
right now. I think it's the Hulk 181.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
I think that's
What's
Right
a
now it
bit?
is.
What's a Bitcoin at now?
It's under
9.8.
Yeah, it's right under 10.
9,800. A 9.4 is going for what? 10. 9.
gotta be.
It's close. They're really close.
It's got to be the Bitcoin then.
Yeah.
It might be.
Unless they, if they don't do anything with Wolverine for Marvel movies, but I think it's we're
By
looking at this.
2021, if he comes out with a movie by 2021, the
It's not happening because we're already into
It's-
2021
we're already-
already for Phase 4. We talked about that all last episode.
Yeah.
Mm.
But that book keeps going up.
It doesn't mean
It's-
he's not going to show up though.
But the Bitcoin
He's just
can
not
bust
showing up
out
in his
just as
own
quickly.
movie.
Bitcoin's
Yeah.
not busting out. I got my future on that. All right, real quick. What do you guys think about the kid from Stranger Things with Wolverine? Billy.
Ooh. Dr. Montgomery?
That kid'll crush it. Just
That
put a
kid-
little bit
I
of
could
muscle
see
on
that,
him.
I
dude.
can see it. I can see
Oh.
it.
I didn't think about that one.
I was thinking Daniel Radcliffe because he looks more like.
Nah,
No.
come on, get
Yeah.
that
No,
kid
no,
out
if
of
you
here.
Come on.
see
I'm
the-
gonna no.
I
There's
don't want to
no.
see Harry
Welcome
Potter
on.
with claws, bro. Get that kid out of here.
Yeah.
He's not going to do it anyway.
I'd take Zac Efron before I took Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel
I was actually
Radcliffe.
thinking that. Yeah.
They've been
Let me
talking
tell you
about-
something. He's a tiny person.
More
He's not that
expensive.
tall.
Give me the Stranger Kids.
I like the Stranger
That's a
Kids,
good idea.
Stranger
They've been
Things
talking
kid.
about that guy from the other guy too.
Eggsy.
Eggsy.
Ooh,
Taron
Eh,
Egerton.
Nah,
Yeah.
He busted out like 6 times in a row. Nobody's giving him another chance. He was Robin Hood. What'd that make? $30?
I'm thinking Scott Eastwood.
You know what? I would.
That
I
kid
would
busted
love.
out more times than Eggsy. They put him in everything. He's the worst part of Fast
listen.
and Furious. I love Fast
All
and
right,
Furious.
listen. This is
I didn't even know he was in that.
this is my wheelhouse. This is Wolverine, and like I would love to see Scott Eastwood because I loved that Mark Teixeira based Wolverine on Clint Eastwood forever. He used to use his face,
Yep.
and I love the way he would look as Wolverine. But that dude, I don't think he can carry it.
That
Probably
dude
not.
can't act.
He can't carry it.
He's just pretty.
That's why I would take Efron. I saw Efron in that Ted Bundy movie, and I was like, yeah,
He's
he
good,
could
yeah.
be crazy.
Or
I'm
Jon
alright
Snow.
with
Ooh.
Mm.
Maybe not. He's got a good look.
He's
Too good
typecast
looking.
though right now.
Yeah,
Zac
he's
Efron's
rough.
not?
Well, he bombed too, though. Kit
have a
Kit
point.
Harington can't hold anything either. He bombed,
that's
and after
true.
season 8, no one wants him to do anything
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
all he can say is, "I don't want it."
Yeah.
I don't want it.
I don't want
All he
it.
wants to say is, "I don't want it."
You look pretty cool with claws, bro.
You are my queen.
You know what? We're all going to be wrong. You know what they're going to do? They're going to cast a girl.
If they do X-23, I'm cool with it. Run it.
I'd be fine with that.
But only X23.
I'd be fine with
Whatever.
that.
I don't care, man. I can't take it that seriously anymore.
Yeah.
You can't take it that seriously anymore. Just let them recast stuff. Let them gender change. It's fine. As long as it's good, I don't
As
care.
long as it's good.
Yeah, as long as it's good, I don't care.
But
Change
what about
change
when
it.
it's not?
Well, then it sucks.
Like you're not.
But it sucks
when-
anyway.
When they
It's-
they
Yeah.
build this blockade.
you know, but
because
it
you
sucks.
can't say it sucks if they change the gender.
But it's not
now
because they
you're
changed the
only
gender,
saying
it's-
it sucked because they changed the gender.
No,
That's like some
but like
So
I,
it's
all right,
protecting themselves.
but
Yeah.
see the thing is,
Yeah.
I
Captain
agree with
Marvel
you.
sucks because Captain Marvel sucks, not
Well, you
because
can't
Captain
say
Marvel's a
Captain
woman.
Marvel sucks.
But it's because it's a bad movie, not because she's a woman.
Yeah.
Tell that to the internet who supports
Yeah.
a bad
No, I'm
movie.
aware of that.
We're
Like
living in
Yeah.
a different world. We're playing by different rules now.
no, we absolutely
And
are.
Marvel knows exactly how to play the game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, they're
They're
doing
just
it.
pandering.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
pandering for the internet.
Oh, they did a
Twitter.
hard
Nobody,
look at
nobody
the
really cares about Twitter.
oh the James
If
Bond
only
thing's the
it's
craziest.
paying off for them.
It's a monopoly though. Anything they do is gonna make money.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, the James Bond thing is the biggest one. They just wild overcorrect.
That's not even true.
Really? That's
It's
not true.
Even, they're just saying she's gonna be 007. There have been hundreds of people playing 007 in that series.
Yeah.
That does not mean she's the new James Bond.
She's not.
Oh
James
yeah, but they're
Bond,
making
she's
her Agent
007.
007.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Still,
yeah.
she's not
But that's what I
James
mean.
But they
Bond,
can still
obviously.
sneak
No, she's
attack
not
us
gonna be
with Idris
called
Elba
James
as James
Bond.
Bond in 3 months.
No, obviously she's not going to be called James Bond.
Yeah,
I'm
be
just saying they're
taken out.
changing
Exactly.
007
I'd
to
be
be.
alright with that.
They like
But that's what
overcorrect
they're
so
gonna
hard.
do. Once we start calling for Idris Elba, they're gonna say he was it the whole time and she was just his new sidekick.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm down for Idris Elba.
Yeah.
007.
That'd be sick.
I'm down for Idris Elba to do much or anything. We watched. He
Yeah,
turned me
he's
on to The
awesome.
Wire years ago, and I'm like,
I
I'll
just
watch.
started watching that with my
It's
wife.
I have
Awesome.
Omar on my
Isn't
leg.
he has Omar in his leg? 100%.
I haven't gotten up to Omar yet.
How did
We're
you? He's like
early, man.
three.
We're early.
It's like 3 episodes in. He's really early.
He watched the pilot.
You watch them.
No, I watched like the first 3-4 episodes, man. Like, but we just haven't gotten that like deep into it. I had HBO Go for the month that Game of Thrones.
It's
Smart.
wonderful. The Wire's the entire scene where they're doing the murder sequence in the apartment. It's dead silent, and all they do is drop F-bombs for 20 minutes. It's great. One of the greatest scenes ever committed to film in movie TV history. It's amazing, where they literally just drop every version of
The
F word you can possibly run out.
What season is this?
Season 1.
Ooh.
And it's early on, like right, it's halfway through or so. They're trying to solve a murder, like that's like a few months old or a year old, and they're just like running around the apartment, dropping F-bombs and just using every variations of it,
I haven't seen it.
and
yet.
just it's
Wire.
amazing.
I haven't watched it yet.
It's really good. It never really falters.
It's HBO,
honestly.
right?
Yeah,
It's really funny.
it's not TV, Tess.
I know. It's succeeding it.
Michael B. Jordan's in it, and he's
Oh yeah.
he's like 15 in it. It's
Where's
crazy.
Wallace?
All right, we've gone completely off the rails at this point.
Yeah, oh yeah, we've gone way far afoul.
All right, so before we end today, we know that you have an insanely long list.
Mm.
How do people get on that list? How do people get in contact with Undead Ink?
Just shoot an email. That's the best way to do it.
Where
Always.
should they send the email to?
Would it be undeadinkny@gmail.com?
That would be it.
Nice.
Yep. Don't DM me. I don't answer DMs. I'm horrible
Even
at it.
my DMs?
I always answer your DMs.
I like how you got closer to the microphone.
Yep.
for that.
That's the only way to do that.
And
Because usually your DMs are like, you want to go look for comics? I'm like, yeah, that's all I want to do. I don't ever really want to go to work. I just kind of want to go look at comics all day.
and we can see your
Of
work
course.
on Instagram.
Yep.
Where else? What's
Um,
it? MC Carro.
Well, at Undead Ink is the shop one, and then it's M Carro Tattoo.
And you guys put a lot of the same stuff, but you also put the.
He puts all the
stuff.
other
Yeah,
artist
yeah,
stuff. So we got
everybody.
Derek and Edgar and Juan all work here too.
So you have a long wait list, right? So what we just said like 6 months.
March, April.
And like
9
the
months.
other guys are super talented. Is it a similar wait list or?
You can get in within a couple weeks with some of them, but some like Derek's waits pretty long.
Yeah, I think it's
But
February now.
We take on everything. We'll try to fit you in.
Listen,
you
if
email us.
you're looking for a tattoo, contact these guys as soon as possible. This is literally the police coming down and the fire department with people who want to get tattoos right now. Yeah, hit them up. Follow them everywhere you can. They have awesome stuff. They're, again, award-winning tattoo artists
Literally,
here.
yes.
So,
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
accurate. We have a few awards.
Just a couple.
yeah, we try to be accurate with the information we give people.
This
is there-
was really rad. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no,
Thank you
Yeah,
for
this
having
is-
us.
I've been
Thank
I've
you
been
guys for
trying to
having
get on
us.
here.
Yeah,
So
good
Thank you for
time.
welcoming us into your space.
Yeah, this
Oh,
is our first
absolutely,
on-location
man.
recording.
nah, man, it's really cool to just sit here and hang out and just talk and BS about stuff. you
Yeah,
know?
man.
Good
you guys
stuff.
like having a podcast?
Yeah,
We love it, yeah.
Having a good
it's
time?
fun stuff.
Yeah.
Fun
This is what we want to
We-
do. It's not what we get to do, but this is
Yeah.
And those are more fire department
Yeah.
guys coming here.
I
Yeah.
think you're gonna get to the point where you can monetize the podcast.
Well, you guys will be here first.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm gold right now.
No, yeah, absolutely.
This episode is sponsored by Undead Ink.
The only thing I have to offer is this Greek.
I got
food.
5.
I'll take some gyro. All right, anything else from you guys? So you want to put any
No,
more
we're all
information?
Nah,
out
man,
there?
I'm super stoked to hang out with you guys and spend some time. And
Awesome.
I'm down if you ever want to
Yeah,
come
well,
back. I'm down to
I
come
def-
back.
I think
Do a
we're
Wolverine episode, man. I can sit and
Oh,
talk for.
absolutely.
There
Yeah,
we
could
go.
do that.
There we
Hours.
go. Yes.
I'm
We were-
very like loose knowledgeable about most of this stuff, but I'll talk all day about
We
Wolverine.
could do that.
Yeah, we
So
can
that's a
have
challenge
one.
for
We
some
can have a
Wolverine
Wolverine
geek.
episode without you.
Good stuff.
All right. So we're gonna to say goodbye and thank you again.
Yes, thank you guys.
All right, thanks to the guys at Undead Ink, Tony and Mike. It was great talking with them. Make sure you check out the shop if you're looking to get a tattoo, especially if you're in the New York and Long Island area.
Great shop.
Yeah, it was
freaking
so
awesome
cool.
shop.
Just to go in there was cool. Obviously, you have to be 18 and over though.
And again, somebody was getting a tattoo while we were there. You
Yeah,
hear
they
the
were.
buzzing somewhat.
Yeah.
Low and low.
Yeah, a little bit.
It was pretty cool.
It wasn't as loud as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And someone here may or may not have signed up to be on their list next year.
Ooh.
Stay
I
tuned
wonder
for more
who.
information.
I wonder who's got that. March 23rd.
All right, but make sure you guys follow them and support them in any way you'd like.
Absolutely.
We highly recommend their shop.
Absolutely.
And we missed out on a little bit of current news. Mr. What's your name again? Toy Story? Yeah.
Whatever you want to call me, Buzz Lightyear. It's fine.
Don't say that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So yesterday was Disney's quarterly investors meeting. After they released their
Yesterday
earnings.
meaning not Monday, which this is.
Oh yeah. What day would that be? Last week.
Last week.
August
Last
6th.
week.
Yeah.
August 6th.
Yeah. So they announced two big things. First is that Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
They're just,
Yep.
That's how they labeled it.
They're all going to be bundled together into one package at $12.99 a month.
Fantastic.
Which is a steal.
Terrific.
I mean, I'm already paying for Hulu, so
Yeah, me too.
getting that and
Netflix, too.
and
I mean,
Disney
you're
Plus.
paying for all this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same price as Netflix, and you're getting 3 things.
Yeah.
It's actually
Yeah.
cheaper. Because Netflix, I'm paying $15.99 for.
Damn.
Yeah.
do you still get
You got
DVDs?
the ultimate package.
No. I think I'm getting it without
4K?
commercials.
There are no commercials on Netflix.
What am I paying?
Do you get 4K?
You might have multiple users. You might have more.
That's
than-
probably what
yeah,
I've got.
It's probably three or more.
Yeah.
What I'm interested in is because Hulu's bundled with Spotify right now, too.
Is
Are
it
they
really?
are they going to include that?
I doubt it,
That'll be interesting.
but that's
That's a different type of service, though.
I
That's
think
a,
it's
that's a
brilliant.
music streaming, but it would be brilliant if it was all bundled together.
Yeah.
Even add an extra,
$15 for all 4.
add an
That'd
extra
be
buck to it.
insane. Yeah.
I think we're seeing stuff heading the way that like cable, like
Oh, it's going to go away.
Well, it's not
to
that
some
cable's
degree.
going to go away. It's just you're going to wind up getting bundles of different networks and different streaming services, and you're going to pay a flat fee, and it's just going to be combined into something.
This will make me think about canceling my cable service and
Yeah.
just bumping up my internet service.
That's
and
what I did.
That's the problem, though.
That's what you did?
To get the internet on it by itself is
It's like-
it's almost the entire price of
True.
of-
It's
of
like
the
$20
bundle.
less than if you get internet, cable, and phone.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So it's like if I'm gonna pay almost that much, might as
Yeah.
well just keep the cable for occasional usage.
True.
The first one to do affordable internet by itself is going to make so much money.
Me,
Whoever they are.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not paying that much.
How much you paying?
I pay like $80-something bucks.
Yeah, but you also
Yeah.
don't get any of the text messages we send you, so maybe you know what?
Well, I don't know if you guys have seen any of the commercials the last couple of days. Altice, you might know it as Optimum, they now have internet and TV bundle for $65 a month for life.
For life?
It's no longer a 2-year contract.
Wow.
That's what they've been doing the last couple of days.
But
I'm even thinking of it because I have a landline that
I live in Queens.
I
don't have
despise.
it. No Optimum
So
out there.
I'm looking to get rid of FiOS, and I might actually go with Optimum.
Yeah, they I heard about that too. They're also claiming that their internet speeds are higher than theirs,
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
least
the
at the
last 3
base
years.
package.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I'm sticking with my FiOS at the moment.
So
Yeah, fine.
Anyway, that's great news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Also-
it is.
Yeah. Also, they announced that Kevin Feige is going to be fully in charge of Deadpool, X-Men, and Fantastic Four
So
officially.
has there
As
been
if that
any
wasn't
word
true
on
already.
whether or not that's going to stay at the current rating, meaning rated R?
Bob Iger said it was going to stay rated R a couple
He did.
months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've heard different things. on
No,
that.
it's staying.
If
as
they
is.
if they make it PG-13, people will riot.
No, they won't. It'll stay as
I've,
is.
I've heard different things, too.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
We're talking about Deadpool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, I'm
It's
sure.
like, yeah,
I'm sure it'll stay.
It has to stay rated R.
All right, so we're gonna go into what currently reading and watching. Is anybody reading anything?
Reading.
Can
I
you
meant
can
to
tell
read-
us one book that you've read.
One book or one comic book?
Ooh.
You
I
can
read a
talk,
book
You
and a
can talk
comic
about
book.
one thing for 3 minutes.
One thing for 3 minutes?
Or many things for
I was
3
literally
minutes.
just gonna like throw out. I'm keeping up with the Batman titles, so it's Batman and Detective. Detective has got Pete Tomasi on it, and I usually love his stuff, and I'm not feeling it right now.
Was he the one who started off on Superman?
Yes,
I really enjoyed his run. I liked it a lot.
He's a great comic writer. He started off as a comic editor. If the Green Lantern Isamat, if you spell it out, is Tomasi backwards. So Pete Tommaso used to be an editor, used to be a Green Lantern editor at DC, made the switch to being a comic book writer. And as I said, like normally his stuff's really good. Batman and Robin was him for like New 52, and that has like that.
He did the silent issue, right?
He did the silent
that was
issue.
good.
His stuff's usually really good. The Arkham Knight thing that like kicked off after 1000 was like a dud to me, and there's a new arc that I haven't read the recent issue on, but the first part of it was pretty good. It's got the Spectre in it, so it's Jim Corrigan. They're trying to figure out who killed like his partner or what's going on with him.
Would you say the silent issue is his best issue, writing wise?
No, no. That whole Superman run where it was like Super Dad was fantastic. So
agreed.
good.
I really enjoyed it. I kind of fell off after that, but I'm gonna catch up eventually.
Keeping with Superman, Action Comics has actually been really solid.
Really?
That's the
I'm so
Bendis
behind.
series. That's the one that does not have John in it so much. That's more, him and Lois and the planet, like the Daily Planet.
All right, less spoilers.
Sorry.
All right. Yeah, it's my own fault.
No, it's all good. It ties into that current series event, Leviathan, which the first issue did not impress me. The second issue is more interesting.
Again, I think I'm like right around before Leviathan starts, so I'm not too far behind.
Okay. It's cool. The first issue is like really slow. JJ just had to stand up.
Yep, I'm all right. I'm all right.
You okay there, bud?
He's
I'm
not.
all right.
He's not okay.
I'm okay.
Oh boy. I also picked up the House of X and Powers of X, and like that's
Nice.
pretty cool.
I have those two. I haven't read yet. I heard they're good so far.
They're pretty cool. I'm intrigued. I'm interested. I'm on a few year hiatus from the X-Men, and I read from like 2000 to maybe 2016.
Nice.
Like,
Damn.
yeah, like I was reading X-Men through everything, the good and the bad. Like I read Chuck Austin's run as it was coming
That's
out.
kind of
Man.
like currently what I'm doing. I've
Through
read
the 90s?
I'm up to I started from the beginning. I mean the early stuff I really
You're up to the
peaked
90s though,
through-
right?
yeah, I'm like 93 now, but yeah, I just haven't had that much time. To
Yeah.
read. All right, but let's really get into what we were doing this segment for. Did everybody watch The Boys? Who's going to discuss it? Bruce, you didn't watch?
I didn't watch.
All right,
Too bad
well,
we're talking about it.
if you're gonna watch,
That's all right.
spoilers are abound, people. I literally just finished it today. What everyone think? Let's do a grade. Let's do a grade on this. I think this is grade worthy.
Ooh.
Oh, JJ, man, solid 10, man. I loved it.
Really?
I really,
Wow.
really loved it. And I know nothing. I've never read the book. I know nothing
Yeah,
about
me
this.
neither.
I love the characters. One of them is, I don't know if you realize, but it's like Dennis Quaid's son.
Who?
The guy.
Homelander?
No, not the Homelander. The
Huey. Sorry,
Huey. Yeah, Huey. That's
That's-
Dennis Quaid's son.
Dennis. Oh, I thought it was Randy. I thought you said Randy.
No,
I was
Dennis
thinking
Quaid.
Randy.
You know-
I'll be honest with you. He's my favorite character.
Yeah.
I really like.
I think
Huey.
all the characters
Yeah.
meshed well together.
100%.
And these superheroes, I mean, they're villains and they're superheroes at the same time.
A
And
corporate
it's just,
conglomerate controlled superhero.
I love the story. I really want to read the books now. I don't know if it has anything. I don't know if they're
feel
the
that strongly
same.
about it.
It's similar. It's far more excessive. I think they did a really good job. This is Bojo talking. I read the series for probably like the first 60 issues. I stayed on for a good long time, and it just got to a point where it was excessive for excessive.
Did you say 60 issues?
Yeah,
How many did it go to?
I
Is
ran
it
to like
still-
71.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I
So you
and a
gave
couple
up
of
right towards
miniseries.
the end.
Yeah,
Was this
they
released
lost
through
me.
Vertigo?
No, so it started off in Wildstorm,
Oh, okay.
and the issue with essentially the Batman, Nightwing, and Catwoman character in a relationship with each other at the same time, I think made
Ooh, menage a trois.
the publisher decide to drop it. So Dynamite picked it up like almost immediately.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's excessive. It is extremely gross. It is obscene. It is obscene
I
for
feel like they
obscenity's sake.
definitely toned that down a lot. Like I was expecting, it's getting to the point where the thing that bothered me is everything was like nudity and strong sexual content. I was like, oh man. So like I was worried to watch this on the train, and it's just like you don't see anything.
It had
It's
its
just-
moments.
It had
its moments.
It had more of a
but it's quick. It was
referring to like that kind of
Yes.
stuff. Then I was like, I think it's a little unnecessary.
the first episode and a quick scene in the
and again,
in the
you're
club.
right,
I mean,
it's
that was a
quick.
little.
That was excessive.
Yeah.
That was.
What do you have a grade, Bojo?
Ooh, that was really good. It
I
was a
guess
good
I'm
series.
done.
I read it in I read it, watched it in a day. That was like I'd probably be not 10, but like 8, 5, 9. It was pretty
Okay.
solid.
Wow.
Okay.
It was
High
pretty
grades.
What about you, Toy Story?
I didn't watch it.
Oh, you didn't?
No, not at all. So
Oh.
I'm trying to tune you guys out right now.
Oh, well, that's your fault. I binge watch this for work. This is work.
I thought you
It's
watched
your
it, Matt.
job.
You didn't
No.
watch it?
All right. Well then.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Then
No,
to
it's
me.
fine.
No, we're gonna talk about it. It's your fault.
Oh.
Hey, that's fine.
I'm gonna say 9-0.
Yeah.
I was as high as a 9-2. There was something about the ending, and I'm sure it's part of the story.
It's not.
It's not.
It is not.
So you know what bothered me? As soon as he tells Homelander the story about like how he had a son and the wife and everything died, as soon as I saw that scene, I was like, they're both alive.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, they're both alive 100%.
Do
And so like I wasn't surprised by the ending at all that they were still alive.
you want a spoiler for the comic?
I kind of figured out in the first episode that they were alive. At least she was alive.
Do you want,
Oh yeah,
I mean, right away.
Yeah,
Do you want a spoiler on the comic series?
sure. I'm not gonna read it.
JJ's got hemming and hawing here.
It's okay.
Oh, sure?
Sure. Whatever.
All right. No, she does die from the baby, like in the comics. They're on vacation. The baby basically like claws its way out, and it's got like the X-ray, not X-ray vision, the laser vision.
Basically, what it did in the show.
Yeah. They would never do this on TV. Butcher like literally beats the child to death with a candle, like a lamp from like their hotel room.
So wait, does she?
It is gnarly. This series is messed up.
I mean, the closest they got to that was him like holding like that super baby to like
Yep.
to mow down those guys with the laser.
It was so good.
I was like, wow.
Which one was that?
They're in the NICU.
When they're in when
Oh,
they find yeah.
The newborn ward, not NICU.
Yeah.
I want one of those.
It was awesome though. I liked all the characters. Really liked it. So you know what I read? So in the comic book, they based Huey off of Simon Pegg. And I guess this had been they had planned to do the series for a while, and he was gonna be Huey, but it kind of like took so long that they're like, I think we need to go with someone younger, but we still want you to be in it. You'll just be like Huey's dad or something. Does Huey's dad even exist in the show? Because he was like Scottish or something like that in the comic, right?
He was Scottish in the comic. I don't remember seeing his parents in the comic, but it's been a good long time.
Yeah.
Derek Robertson was the artist on the series and really liked the BBC series Spaced, which is like the first Edgar Wright stuff. So it's Edgar Wright. Nick Frost is very skinny in it. I'm not kidding.
That's funny.
You actually see him kind of putting on the pounds.
Yeah.
As the series progresses, but it's very funny.
Yeah.
The series is very funny, and Derek Robertson, I guess, like really took to the guy and used his likeness.
That's funny.
And we had some pretty cool cameos. I mean, we had Billy Zane, we had Tara Reid.
Yeah.
Like, we had some pretty big cameos in this.
Was Ian Ziering in it?
No,
in
he
it too?
was not. I was waiting for him to pop out.
And then Haley Joel Osment was
With a
a
chainsaw.
character too.
yeah.
Haley Joel
Mesmer.
Osment was on it. Yeah, Mesmer.
Yeah, I mean, it was just really all the characters. There's not a single character that I could say that I didn't like the show because of them. I think everyone did a good job.
I hated them in the show. Like,
Yes,
like
and I think
the
it was.
runner,
I think it was. Yeah,
I couldn't stand it. Like, I wanted to kill him.
and I think that was you're supposed to. And the same thing with Homelander. Like this guy is a
I liked Homelander.
DB,
But I liked Homelander.
but he
I
did a
thought
great
was
job.
Cool.
He's supposed to be that. I think.
He's terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally think of Superman if he was a psychopath.
pretty much.
I mean, that ending where Elizabeth Shue went her way. I was
Ruthless.
like,
And I didn't expect that. Like,
yeah. I had a feeling it was coming. I knew as soon as that last lie when he's like sitting on like has his head in her lap. I was like, oh, that's it. She's done. I don't know when, but she's done.
I can't wait to see more of it. I want to see more.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for a second season. I liked all the characters. Again, if I had to pick one favorite, I'm surprised. And I like Carl Urban, but the guy Huey, I think he did a great job. I like girl who played Starlight. I like their
I like the
relationship with
Deep.
each other.
The Deep was awesome.
Yeah, the Deep was probably the most accurate depiction of Aquaman they've ever done.
What a jerk.
I'm interested.
My gills are sensitive.
Oh. So let me bring up this. Okay,
Sure.
so we know where his gills are. Like, Aquaman has no gills. Like, where would they be? Interesting. Like,
Maybe he doesn't need gills.
he doesn't need gills.
All right.
Aquaman, you cannot marry a woman without gills.
All right, so I think we're getting a big 2 thumbs up from Don't Feed the Geeks on The Boys, so definitely check it out.
Don't watch it with your kids or your wife.
Yes, it's well, you
Well,
can
watch
you
your
can
wife.
watch it with
My
your
wife
wife
is watching. She's
if
loving
she's
it.
interested in that kind of stuff.
Carrie's in 3 episodes.
So is
Definitely
Judy.
not your kids though. It is 18 plus show, and yeah, I think I don't know if we really have time for much else.
Is anybody else reading anything else? Do we just? don't really
If you
care?
are, can you say it? Talk about it for a second.
No, just curious.
I reread Thor: God of Thunder. I started it before they announced the whole Jane Foster thing, so it was pretty cool. And I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Nice.
Amazing.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah, very good. There's not much story to it because it's kind of like a day in the life thing with Leo's character. But if you're a Tarantino fan, like you're gonna eat it up.
I do want to eventually see it. It's just hard for me to see anything that isn't a comic book movie anymore. I just don't get around to it.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen Spider-Man yet.
Nah.
Yeah, neither have I.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I haven't seen the other two, and I kind of don't want to jump into the third one. I want to see the other two, so
Nice.
I'll probably have to binge it on Netflix or whatever streaming service it's on.
Cool.
All right. So,
Yep.
anybody else have anything? I was going to do announcements real quick.
Yeah, go
Go
ahead.
for it.
Yeah.
All right. So we are heading to Terrificon. If this episode's releasing Monday, so you'll probably already see some content that we shared, and we're pretty excited about that. We're gonna, share all the news, maybe do some live or post some videos of what we're getting into there. And then, the same thing, make sure to support us, subscribe, give us comments, let us know if there's something that you want to hear more of, something you don't like. We want to hear feedback. That's what it's all about. And, tell your friends, tell everyone, listen, subscribe.
Bam.
Bam.
We're going to wrap this up.
Yep. And so, as we usually say, until next time.
Go Feed the Geeks!